1069. The number one morning show in the SVG.
Morning.
OMG in the morning.
Come on now.
Would you believe me? If I tell you that I just call this place my home. Welcome to my home, sweet carnival. Yeah, and there's a feeling in my bones, deep down in my soul, to mash this place up. And if you're near and far, you could hear the sound of my voice. This is a calling. I'm calling to mash this place up and carry on. Speak me by the big drum with someone in the air. Go first and celebrate. This for the love of carnival. Tell them it's passing tongue. Trouble when we touch down carnival. Meet me by the Victoria Park. We gon' get some body there. Oh, Carnival, we gon' get some back, get some back, get some back, get some back. All in the name of carnival. All in the name of culture. With your hand and a rag and a flag with a bandana. All in the name of festival. All in the name of soca. Please understand me. If I tell you this place does make me feel alive in the sweet historical of carnival. Yeah. And you could see it on my face, the love I have for this. So I go mash this place up, and if you're near or far, you could hear the sound of my voice. This is a calling. I'm calling to mash this place up and carry on. Speak me by the big drum with someone in the air. Go first and celebrate. This for the love of carnival. Tell them it's passing tongue. Trouble when we touch down carnival. Meet me by the Victoria Park. We gon' get some body there. Oh, Carnival, we gon' get some back, get some back, get some back, get some back. All in the name of carnival. All in the name of
I'm not coming to work today. I can't see.
It's Monday morning, Shady. Why are we doing that?
I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I ain't not doing one today.
I think somebody sending a message, but
On the road today. Boss, I'm not coming to work today. I can't see. No, nothing wrong with my eyes. I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I ain't not doing one today. Don't tell me about work, I out on the road today. Me and some pretty, I out on the boat today. I don't care what time of day it is, I'm drinking rum today. Having fun today. Yeah! Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not going to work today. Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not doing no work today. I'm on the road, yeah. To the beach, yeah. To the club, yeah. Pool party, bus crawl, uptown, yeah. Downtown. If it's your birthday, turn up. Get drunk till your face get numb. When my crew there, come around. Drinks up and sing along. Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not going to work today. Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not doing no work today. Yeah, bring the vibes that we pump. And then we drink and drink till we drunk. Pop bottles, you know we. The bar must bust when you see we touching. We drinking, some bad gal we linking. What up thickers, what up slim thing. Same timing, sing along with me if you agree, no man. Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not going to work today. Holiday, today's a holiday. I don't care what nobody say, I'm not doing no work today.
This is a hot girl anthem. You and your friend lit, bend your back then. This is a hot girl anthem. You and your team lit, how are you book bend? Girl, wine for me now. Give me little taste for my line for me now. From behind anyhow, pressure any place when you wine to the ground. Make it clap, make it low. You can make it shake and that make it pro. Dice it. You had the vibe and the ground. This girl in a line looking nice and brown. Hey, see we under the rum, and the girls they come to have fun. Yeah, and we under the rum. Girl, before the thing done, listen what me say. Girl, the whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Hot girl, your whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Pressure you apply to me now. Like you oversee, come fly to me now. Girl, at first class, let me dive in your lounge. You and an ex friend invite you to come. Spend every pound, every dime to flex on the road when it's cannibal time. Girl on the junction, wobbling in a line. We come to waste no time, so bye. See we under the rum, and the girls they come to have fun. Yeah, and we under the rum. Girl, before the thing done, listen what me say. Girl, the whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Hot girl, your whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. This is a hot girl anthem. You and your friend lit, bend your back then. This is a hot girl anthem. You and your team lit, how are you bend? Girl, wine for me now. Give me little taste for my line for me now. From behind anyhow, pressure any place when you wine to the ground. Make it clap, make it loud. You can make it shake and that make it proud. Dice it. You had the vibe and the crown. This girl in a line looking nice and brown. Hey, see we under the rum, and the girls they come to have fun. Yeah, and we under the rum. Girl, before the thing done, listen what me say. Girl, the whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Hot girl, your whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Girl, the whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting. Hot girl, your whole crew could get it. Like you're hot and need some wetting.
The X, boy. The X, the P.
That shit it.
Toxic.
Boy, you don't have a microphone, so you can't talk to me this morning, so I don't know how we will manage that. But the Cutlass will be in this morning. He will do your talking for you this morning. Yeah? As we do some in-studio maintenance today, so we get that all sorted out. But let me let you know, good morning to SVG Tires. Good morning to Shadow. Shadow, morning to you, buddy. At SVG Tires, they have a special on tires. Buy a regular price and get the fourth one for free. Yeah, check their stores in Kingstown today. They open from 8 o'clock. You can call them at 457-1467. Or in Arnesville, they've got a location in Arnesville. You can check them out at 456-6444. You know where the location in Arnesville, right? Yeah, Shady said yes. Oh boy, I mute him today. He will be muted until tomorrow morning. So Shallow morning, buddy. Check out Shallow. As we tell Shallow, that's my boy. Shallow, just check him out. Good guy that. Decent man. A good man. A decent human being. Shallow, yeah. Hey, listen, embrace the future of education with KCCU Ed Tech. All right, head back to school. Hassle free. Some persons are now going back out to school today, Monday for the first. Yeah, with financial support from $3,000 to $5,000. Enjoy super low interest rates and manageable monthly payment. Invest in your dreams today and pave the way for a brighter tomorrow. Yeah, KCCU, that's the message from them. Why not? And Max Pizza would like to inform the general public that they are closed for business. They are looking forward to serving you from the 26th of September 2023. All right, from 12 noon. So they close now. If you know Beckwith, you know how the way Beckwith flow. Yeah, they've got an on season, they've got an off season. So Max Pizza, they will be closed. However, from the 26th, on the end of the month time, you can get back into ordering your Vinci pizzas and having them delivered to you. You know, the usual thing, put in the order and the Vinci Uber will go and pick it up for you and all that and these things. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm going to say morning to those of you on the Facebook Live in a bit. Let me just say one more. Where boy Woodsy there? Got two Woodsy he's going to say good morning to. The Calico Woodsy name again? URS? What? We name? URS? What a stupid name. Who gave themselves that name? It seems like everybody by that Woods name have got a stupid name. And the one in New York, his first name is Heptito. Heptito Woods. What a stupid name that is. Who gives themselves that name? But hey, gotta let you know that he is having a massive birthday bash. Yeah, Woodsy's celebrate on the 23rd of September. Yeah, Saturday the 23rd of September at Woodsy at 1133 Clarkson Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Limited tickets, $40. Music by New York City's top DJs, international cast as well. So you don't want to miss out. Heptito's UIS Heptito Woods as he celebrates his birthday bash. Oh gosh, boy, you ain't kill me with that, alright? Hey, listen, make sure you get your bottle services for $250, one bottle, 2 tickets, table, and appetizers. Bottle service, also, bottle package also for $450, 2 bottles, 4 tickets, tables, and 2 appetizers. And the big one, the $650, the one that the Cutlass is gonna use. Yeah. For 3 bottles, 6 tickets, tables, and 3 appetizers. That's Woodsy's as he celebrates his big birthday bash. The big birthday, don't know how old he going to be. We will find out that. We will find out that in a smart way. Yeah? On the 23rd of Saturday, the 23rd of September 2023. Yeah, so let me jump into the thing. Good morning, Camille Ambrose. Good morning to you. Bernadette, good morning to you, darling. Yeah, man. How you doing, Bernadette? Bernadette, I'm drinking some nice coffee here. Yeah. Hold on. Shady can't drink any because the coffee machine outside, they make the coffee here. So, Fafi, I bring my thing from home. You take that or you chop it. Hold on. I needed that. Sonia Charles, good morning to you, darling. Sanche, all the way in Guyana, good morning to you. George, buenos dias. SVG, George is saying buenos dias, George. Yeah. Blessings, everyone. Locked on all the way from Pennsylvania, George is saying. Mary, good morning to you, darling. How you doing? How's Ronald, Mary? Long time I ain't see him. But you didn't know that's Ronald is Mary's brother. Yeah. You learned something there, yeah? Rohan Arendelle, morning to you. Rohan Preston Johnson, good morning, Chess Preston. Yes, Mary, yes, dear. Good morning, dear. The Cutlass will be with us in a bit. So I will get the rundown because you know it is now. I wasn't wrong, so I didn't know what all I missed. Maybe was Shady. Shady already. He's a good comrade, so he didn't go on to tell me anything. So how was Big Red while I was gone? How's Big Red? Yeah, turn on your microphone, man. Come on, man. Stretch your microphone to you. How was Big Red while I was away? Huh? You're looking at me like if you're lost. Your mic is on it, buddy. How was things in the country? Tell me, tell me what's been going on. What's the latest?
We just had a few more murders.
We had a few more murders, yes. That's so I understood. Yeah, maybe we may talk about that this morning. Somebody on the line, and I think I know who this is, who's gonna update me on what's been going on. Good morning to you, sir.
For sure, good morning to you, Bing.
Good morning to you, Kingsley. How you doing, buddy?
Fine, thank you. Morning, Shady. Bing.
Yes, sir.
You know, we look forward to hear your program on mornings, and you have a very good friend in the Commissioner of Police, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since sometime last week that he's going to be in his office, right? We heard from the Honorable Prime Minister you referred to as the world boss. Yeah,
I call him Big Red.
Oh, Big Red. Okay.
Big Red, yeah, Big Red.
Right.
Big Red.
And then he came and he explained that he didn't understand how the commission is getting it. But if you hear that the commission is actually leaving on Friday, would you believe that, Bing?
If I hear the commissioner
that the commissioner is leaving on Friday, would you
leaving on Friday? Which Friday? Did they say which Friday?
This coming Friday.
This coming Friday?
Yeah.
If I hear that, would I believe that? I don't know. Would you believe that?
Well, yes, I will believe it.
You believe it?
Okay. Because I think he's a big man. He made a presentation that he's going to be in his office. He gave us the reason why.
Okay, where did he make that presentation?
Well, you didn't see it all over the press. It was discussed on your radio program.
You said that meaning the commissioner made a presentation that he was leaving on Friday. Where did he make that presentation?
You're not would like to know where that commission, where he made that presentation, but he did so.
Shady, you saying something there? Shady, you know where?
It did surface Shady, and we wondering why, and we don't know why the commission choose to take all the retirement, but understand that he's leaving on Friday. But Ben, you know who is the permanent secretary of the Ministry of National Security?
I can't say. I know it used to be Pompey, but I don't think it's Pompey anymore.
Pompey
resigned.
Yeah. Well, find out something if the PS leaving now. Yeah.
The PS? The commissioner or the PS? Which one?
The commissioner should be leaving on Friday.
The commissioner should be leaving this Friday, you're saying?
Yes. And the PS is about to leave. I don't know how soon.
The permanent secretary leaving too? What is this attack Kingsley were telling me? So the country and the security then? What are we really saying, Kingsley?
You need to find out, right?
You call Big Red right now so that you
and let me tell you something, right? When according to Boom Standard, when the Cuban Cutlass, but I think he's Mr. Impartiality comes in. When he comes in, right? You can ask him off air if he know the reason why the commission decided to leave.
Okay? If he know, right? Because he gonna know. He should know.
I know he know.
You know for a fact that he knows.
Yeah, but he won't tell you on air, but he will tell you off air. Okay?
Where did he tell you this? On air or off air?
I never said he told me that, you know.
But you said he knows. So how you know he know?
I have a friend who know, he say he know, and I know he know.
That is a lot of he know.
You have to go fight for that, eh? And in closing, you know what I would like to see, Ben? I'd love to see Ralph Gonsalves find a way to maneuver the Constitution to remove the DPP.
Remove the DPP? On what grounds?
Because I don't think that she's performing adequately from where we saw Roger Gaspard and where we saw Carter Williams. I didn't think that she appeared to have that level of standard to hold a high office, okay?
Right.
So if the Prime Minister is doing a wholesale change in the ministry,
mash up the whole cover.
Mash up the whole cover, them and make some reappointments, man, okay?
So you want him, so you're saying Friday, Commissioner John leaving, also permanent secretary leaving, and you want the Prime Minister to send home the DPP as well too?
Yeah, because if you shake it, other people around you, and the Ministry of National Security appears not to be functioning, you have to do a cleanup and make sure that when you start fresh, you come out to the bank. That's what I'm saying.
Winston say you're talking in parables, Kingsley. Like you know more than you're saying.
Let me tell you something. Winston is one of the most experienced folks to listen to the radio, and he don't figure out what I'm saying, and that is good enough. Once somebody understand what I'm saying.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
You have a wonderful day.
You too, my brother. Keep listening, eh? My brother Kingsley. Well, Kingsley said, according to Kingsley, Commissioner John is leaving on Friday. That's not according to me. That's according to Kingsley. And he is also saying that his information is leading him to believe that the permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security is also leaving. And he is also saying, now he's also calling on the Prime Minister to find a way to have the DPP removed as well. Well, where here be really? Somebody tell me where here is, because I don't show where they. Where here be really? So if what Kingsley is saying is correct, we ain't gonna have no commissioner, no permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and also no DPP. Maybe this person might tell me. Good morning.
Nah, I know about big Kingsley one time, but I added.
Oh, you added somebody else to the list?
I added to Kingsley list. We need to dash the Minister of National Security too, because if he sheep a manji, he head might have Angie too, so start from his head. Because the Ministry of National Security now know certain integral information. He now know if he commissioner police resign. He now know this, but he now know that. I need to dash you that there too.
What is this?
Because he sound like he sound like that fish there bun mouth. So we can't eat that fish there.
Wait.
That fish there dash right. And I put dash right cooking oil too because it seems like I reuse them old, you know, fry fish in that old cooking oil, old stale cooking oil.
So we're really saying, talk straight now. Winston, say, please tell Max to talk straight. Talk straight now, man. Who being with you? Who recycling? What's going on here, Max? Tell me, because I'm just back. I don't know what's going on in the country. I just back.
When me was recycling, you know, see, crime in St. Vincent is out of hand. I mean, if you're trying the same thing and expecting different results, that is characterized as insane.
Insanity right
Minister
there.
of National Security been there since before Jukma 12 and I collect copy and I collect concessions and I collect allowances. That she went and save the money there. Police commissioner don't know where I go on, and it seems like when he commission, it seems to me, whenever a police commissioner have a lead on something, somebody undermine them.
What?
That way my notice brain tell me, remember me notice plus import duty plus VAT plus fuel surcharge. Nobody not tell me so now. This is my assumption.
Wait. I hope there's no operative movement in all of this, that these speculations that are going on here.
Let me tell you about operative. I mean, I go change the topic too much. You go on down by the new port and see where their money gone. If I an operative, them not pay people them over fortnight and the house slave. You say house slave, what's that master? No?
What?
I never watched Django. I never watched Django. How Samuel L. Jackson was worse than the white man.
House slave too? What is it? So we
House
got
slave, what's that master? Remember when master be with by the house slave is the other day when he hook him up. I say make sure them pay you. But he remember when they said me want to take him a foreign. Me want to fly in a big plane and carry my foreign. And the master with Spiny is make sure them pay you. But little master na be no. He man interpret thief your friend of their money. Make sure them pay you. Don't mean thief people their money, big man. That's another topic for another day. Because any man of them, you go watch the interview with Kenton Chance, when Kenton Chance within the hall, and the man add up his maths. Remember, the man of them not done some of them, man educated from education revolution.
So hold on. You're saying that that person working at the port has not been paid? That what you said?
Man, you go on yes.
A $600 million project? That's a $600 million project, you know?
Big man, watch the video. When one of them boring man company segment, not Jomo, but one of them boring man company segment and you take off your headphone, listen to watch the video. And you go see what the man say when them pack up the basket, the steel basket of them, and they add up the calculation, the man supposed to get 100 and something thousand. And he, according to it, them man get paid on pure 30,000, so other 98,000 is some way. Right, must see that evidence there. But me tell her already, when master will spend him man is and tell her make sure them pay you, him and interpret, eat your people at their food. But anyway, now me say son, I go watch Kenton Chance, and he's probably not to them all funny. All funny belly Kenton Chance must see calls to get them things and please your other media houses and a TV man thing at them and say you think why you bad mind they don't they big up Kenton one time because they must thief Kenton information and want brand it as them if that Kenton they them
Max, leave me alone. Max, please.
Up your hat, man. Me head down bad. Now take off me lace front wig and lay up me head.
All right, buddy. All right, thank you, buddy. Thank you. That's a lot of information for me to consume, the boy. Wait, when did I come back in this place here for really? What airline flying out? Somebody help me, please. Book a flight for me. Let me go out, please. Morning. Good morning, sir. How are you? I'm doing very, very well. How about you?
I can't say, well, you know, if I say I miss you, well, you know, I'm going to be, you know, but I miss you in the sense that, you know.
I miss you too.
Well, you know, but I'm only saying I just want to commend the people who held the fort for you.
Let's go.
You did a wonderful job. Well, the thing is that I hope that, you know, that you understand the situation, what have you been saying, because we called a lot. And so we had the commissioner on, hey, Colin John. And you heard me ask him, Mr. John, tell Bing what I said. And he said, and he called the office and said, I must resign. And then, you know, when he actually resigned, like, I'm crying for him because I realized that if you take him out and you put who you're going to put, you ask me again who you should put. And I'm saying, even if now you put my best friend, you know, Mr. Bailey, you know, he's going to have trouble. But what I'm saying, you know what is the painful part is that yesterday, when I got the message came to my wife that there's another murder. And last week, when we had these other two murders, and I called even the police, they didn't seem even to know. And even when we had a situation where a young lady was robbed here in Annisville, and I called Calico, they didn't know. And I want to say to you, my big brother, try and understand what is happening is that we are having comedy on radio. This is serious, this is your life, this is our life, this is children's life, this is people's lives at stake, and we can't do that. And so when you come and you say, hey, Mr. Colin John been telling lies, no, you can't say that, honey. The head of the public relations officer came on this very radio station and said crime going down. And this is the kind of games that they've been playing. And so what do? We get our public together because we don't have any organized opposition, and we say, hey, is that it's time that all of them go. Because they don't make a sense.
Everybody calling for everybody to go this morning. What kind of thing?
I am not calling for everybody to go. I'm calling particularly for Mr. Gonsalves to go. I have been consistent that once Gonsalves stays there, then no police could do their work, no DPP can do their work, no senior officials, NAS person can do their work. And I'm thank God for my lawyer, which is a very wonderful man, and I hope he could call in here today to tell you what is rule of law. You think that this crime thing, hey, just happening because that you don't have a good police officer doesn't understand the law? You have a dictator running our country. But the thing is that their radio stations, anytime you say, oh God, cut off on me. What is so hard to think goes
I ain't saying that this morning, but you've been on a while, okay? Thank you very much.
No, I've been on a while, telling the truth that Gonsalves Gonsalves get to hell out, Bing. He has to get to hell out today. He has to go, like what you say. Gonsalves, you must go to jail.
You can't say that. No, calm down. You can't be saying these things. Yeah, come around the cutlass. This camera picking you up. What the hell? I think, you see, whenever you get back to this country, these things is happening. It's you that cause these things, you know. The country going good all along.
Bang, who was that?
Who was that? That's your friend.
That was Hamo?
Who believes in you?
What did you do to upset him?
I didn't do what you put in me, but what did I do?
What did you do to upset
me,
the man?
Me, all I know.
Hamo does not normally behave like that.
Well, let go from this start.
Yeah,
your friend Kingsley the Freighter's called in,
right,
and said that Colin John, my friend Colin John,
our friend
Colin John is leaving on Friday.
Oh, okay.
And when you come in, I must ask you.
Is this an official announcement? I just got back to the country last night.
But Kingsley said I must ask you because you know.
Why would Kingsley think that I know anything?
Kingsley just said, okay.
Why does
Kingsley say that?
Kingsley said, I know.
He said, I must ask you, and I should ask you off air if I want, because you might want to tell me on air.
Well, you can't. Well, what did you propose? What did you proceed to do?
I said, well, when he come and go ask air. But also, you know, so I should ask you off air. Okay, so I'll ask you off air.
Gave you good advice.
No.
Listen to the man. Follow what Kingsley tells you. So what does that have to do with Hamo?
He also proceeded to say that in the ministry, the prominent secretary in the Ministry of National Security is leaving as well too.
Really?
Kingsley said that all of this, and he said that you know.
I see. And why do so people leave, buddy? Things move on. Are you thinking it's a sinking ship and everybody's abandoned? Is that what you're thinking?
Are you acknowledging this because you say
acknowledging what?
People leave.
But people do leave.
So, and everybody move on.
People move on to different jobs, promotions, retirements, etc. This is a good thing, Bing.
This is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
We're on a good path.
Yeah, other people have a chance to move on. We need to start thinking about the future.
And then Hamo called and said Big Red should go now too.
Who's Big Red?
I mean, who's Big Red? Well, I saw it in a column.
In the chat group.
I saw it in a column. I saw it in a column. I saw it in a column.
Shady, you saw it in a column too? Oh, you heard about it?
I saw it in a column.
I read Jomo's column,
Yeah,
and I didn't know who Jomo. When Jomo calls in, we'll ask
Yeah,
him
we
what
have to.
it was.
What did
Who
he
is-
mean?
who is he referring to
when
with
he
Big
said
Red?
Big Red?
Because I took it he's referring to me.
Well,
But Jomo wouldn't refer to me in a column. I mean, who am I, right? You know?
You're a non-entity.
What about Grant? Grant to me,
Grant?
not a Big
Grant is
Red.
a medium red.
He's a medium red. So what? If Big Red is Big Red,
Yeah.
and Grant is medium red, what the hell am I?
Little red.
I need a promotion. You see, this is why people need to step aside. So when Big Red goes, medium red could be
Could step
promoted
up
to Big Red,
and then you go up to
I
medium
could go up
red.
to medium red. Yeah.
What the hell is going on, buddy?
I don't know. I just come back. I just came back to your country. I had to, got rid of my children again.
So did I?
You got rid of all of them? No.
Well, I didn't know.
You got rid of one.
And the other one going.
Chavez going soon too.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, okay, good. But it
What
was
the
really,
hell
it's
is-
always nice to be in Canada. I like being in Canada. It's such a civilized country, you know. It's so people just do the right thing. Being people, you know, if you're at a road trying to get out,
They would stop and let you out.
somebody will let you out. If you're at a crosswalk or pedestrian crossing, as we call it down here, people stop. It's just. What the hell is going on here? It boggles the mind. You say, what happened? What's going on with these people? Why are they so stupid? They need to come to St. Vincent.
Where is really?
Exactly. We're here is what I found when I was in Canada. They need to come to St. Vincent and learn how to treat people. Right? You know?
And then I'm hearing someone else called and say that thing at port and who ain't getting paid. I say a
I
$600
saw that in the
million
paper.
dollar
Yeah,
project.
and people are not being paid. That's really not
A
good.
$600 million
And
dollar
then there's
project.
rumor about LaView. I don't know.
No,
what's
I'm not.
going on.
I'm not even
So-
going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Well, somebody
Not gonna
sent me a
happen.
message and said it was for
I
sale.
saw in the chat. I
So-
saw in a chat with other
somebody
people.
told
Yeah,
right. That
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
said it
I
was
saw
for
in
sale.
the
Are you
chat.
buying it? Are you thinking about buying LaView?
Well, I am not neither big, medium, small, red. So
Right.
it will have to be a red with some
has
red
to
is
be a big
involved.
red to-
Some
to-
red is
yeah,
involved.
yeah, it
Some
has
red
to be
is-
red, you think,
Some
yeah.
red is involved.
I think you could be wrong because the
Some red-
person I heard was definitely
Yeah.
not red.
Yeah. Well,
But I could be
when-
wrong again.
When it was sold, a red was involved in terms of brokering the deal.
Well, and maybe a red is still involved in brokering the next deal.
I like me the wrong reds, boy.
You're liming it the wrong reds. Yeah. Well, you did tell Grant tonight that you started your own private chat group.
We did.
To get away from people like me and him.
Yeah, Jomo, and I,
and
and
somebody
another
else,
one.
another red man.
Yeah, and another red man is in the chat. Good.
Yeah,
Jomo, we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait for you to come in, buddy.
You said you've done the reverse, right?
Yeah,
this time around.
Reverse
Yeah,
Oreo,
yeah,
reverse
yeah,
Oreo
yeah,
cookie
yeah,
thing. I ain't
yeah.
doing nothing with all
No,
that.
I understand,
So Kongsi's coming up next, and then we got Mr. Weeks to be joining us.
And I am leaving around 8 o'clock,
and-
so I have work to do.
So
to
you
catch
don't
up, but
you
I
don't
gotta catch
wanna
up.
you don't wanna hear what Kongs has to say about this article that he wrote with Big Red and the NDP and
I will
structure
be
and
here for the
strategy
first 15 minutes,
and all
so
of
I
that.
will hear because
When you read his article, what did you
thought
think?
I thought he gave very good advice, except I disagreed with two things.
What are those things in his article?
You know,
that you
I've done a lot of thinking because the nice thing when you travel is you have time to think and to read and, you know, do the things that you don't do because you're running. The most important thing I wanted to talk about at some point, and I forwarded to an article to Jomo, to several of them actually, about your society, the role of men and women and all of these things, because we tend to be focused only on the present and the short-term present thing. We're not thinking about the long-term future. Now, the articles I read were mainly related to the United States. But
Right.
whenever I read articles about the United States or about any other country, I say, how does this relate to St. Vincent? Do we have similar problems or not? In some cases we do, in some
There's a
cases
parallel.
we don't. Is there a parallel, right? And it's amazing how small the world is. One of the comments I read is that in the quote-unquote rich world, 100 for every 88 men that are attending university, 100 women are, right? But the last statistic I heard from UWI said that approximately of every 100 people going into UWI, 100 people, 60 or more are female and 40 or less are men.
That's not. That's
No,
not
but
good.
we tend to ignore these things. We wonder about crime, but we don't look at the solutions. When you look at teachers being, how many teachers are male versus how many teachers are female? I never thought about that before reading this article. It never occurred to me. Role models matter, right? So there are many things to discuss, if you like, about the future, if you like. And we come in here and we're obsessed about the past and the present, right?
Let me bring it in. Let me bring it
But
home a bit.
can I
Let me
step
bring
back?
it.
Yeah, go
You know,
ahead.
it's on your same point then.
Sure.
So then, Big Red has been making a number of appointments, which
Yes.
happen to be female.
Yes, yeah. And I read an interesting article by Richard Byron Cox,
Right.
who I found made some very, very valid points also. We need to be careful. Huh? We have the same issue, and I thought about it in, I'm president of the Olympic
Right,
Committee
right,
too, and swimming, right?
right.
And every time you go away to these conferences or whatever, or they email you, one of the big requirements now is gender equity. And we need to get more females involved, right? All well and good. Have no problem with that. Except I get up and I say, guys, when you talk about gender, be careful, please. There's two genders as far as I'm aware. There's a male and a female. I know some will dispute it, but as far as I'm aware, there's two
It's
genders.
transgenders.
But I know there's two as far as I'm aware. Okay?
Hold on, caller. Hold on.
There's two genders, right? And in the sports movement, they want gender equity. You have to have at least 30% women in everything, every executive, every other thing. And I think to myself, guys, you got this the wrong way around. In the Caribbean, certainly, the problem is not women. The problem are men. The problem is, what are we doing with our young men? Who's committing the crimes, Bing? Who's murdering people? Who are in gangs? Who's selling and dealing with drugs mainly? It's mainly men.
Let's see what this supposed to have to say. I can get back to that. Caller, good morning, your life.
Morning, Stephen. You're making a very strong argument there, and I'm kind of on the fence now. How many men is in the workforce in relationship to women?
I can tell you my office.
'Cause I heard
Max, I
somebody
can
say-
tell you in my office, 80% are women. 80%.
80% of
Yes,
women.
and I know Bing will
Well,
joke and
well,
say it's
well,
because I am biased, right? But you walk into most offices and businesses in St. Vincent now. And to me, it seems to be a much larger proportion of women.
and that's true, but I think somebody has said women get an unfair advantage, and I don't think it's an unfair advantage. I think they're just trying to level the playing field, because over the past decades and centuries, society has just been led by men.
Yes.
And positions of significance have been led by men. Laws. Imagine you have laws up here in America telling a woman she can't abort a child by men.
Yes, correct, by men.
So
and
I understand what you're saying,
usually
but-
white old men.
But
guys,
guys, what about the equality of which we speak about? Doesn't men have a right where equality is concerned as well, too?
Well, they've gone overboard to correct, as Ralph would say. You have historical wrongs.
You have to
The
correct
problem
historical wrongs.
is, the problem was trying to correct the historical wrongs as you make present wrongs. Right?
But
And
you
you
see,
overcorrect.
you see this whole equality argument thing? None of us are equal. And it's us, for us to think that I am equal to a woman, I am ludicrous. And this whole equality notion has been put forth by the Democrats. And it's a plague that's plaguing the world, because when a woman is going through a mood swing, who am I to tell she when she's going through her cycle? Who am I as a man to tell she's overreacting? I have no understanding of that.
Correct. Well said.
So this whole equality crap that we push in, we're not equal, but we have to respect our differences.
Just so well said.
That's the difference.
Max, Max,
But we're the five cells, man.
Okay, cool.
Give
check
this
it
somebody,
out.
give this,
But when you go back to what is the cause of this, right? What's the issues here? In American colleges, if you go to play sports, football or whatever, right? You have 4 years of eligibility from the time you enter school, right? And then you're out. You can't play for colleges anymore. Now, what they do though, there's a thing called a red shirt. And a red shirt means you get a fifth year. It means basically you don't play in the first year or participate in the first year. You're taken out in the first year, basically. So you still have 4 years of eligibility, even though you may have spent 5 years in college. It's called a red shirt. And one of the articles made the point that we need to do this for men. You see, we don't like to admit, because of religious stupidity, mainly, we don't like to admit that men and women are different. Our brains are wired differently, and the most studies that you read will point this out. But one of the major differences is the age at which men mature and develop.
Yeah,
And
in
all the
comparison to
statistical
women,
studies will show you that we are slower.
Yes.
And in the Caribbean, what do? We want to push our kids ahead. We want our kids to skip classes. We want them to go faster, right? We want them to graduate with 25 O-levels or CXCs or CSECs, whatever you call them now, right? Whatever you want to call them. We have this insane system, this competitive, insane system. So instead of saying, okay, guys, let's be realistic here. You've heard me make this point before, Bing. We start in school at 5 years old. Why not 6? Right? For boys, why not hold them back a year later in recognition of the biological
Somebody call
apparent facts, the biological facts that apparently state that that men need an extra year because women are naturally developed a year ahead of us, if you like, as we progress.
Caller, tell us what you think. Good morning, you're live.
Hello, Little Red.
Yes, go. But be ready for you, Tina boy. Be ready for you.
Boy, I'm real.
Shady didn't play a drop yet, Tina man.
Boy.
Shady find the man.
I want to.
Shady find, no, Shady don't answer. Shady just find the thing they didn't pay.
I want to say thanks to those who voted for Labour, but now a ball.
Yes, Kenzie, your
My
turn.
friend, good morning, Kingston.
Good morning, Bill.
Hey, Kingston, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, man. I just celebrate a little bit on this issue. And if people really want a good conversation on this equality something, I think Jordan Peterson is a good person to listen to. Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
There has been.
You realize he's highly hated by a lot of people too, right?
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Because he doesn't go with the mainstream. But listen to the argument. As a matter of fact, there's one a wonderful one where him and this lady from this news agency, she was interviewing him, and they had a very good conversation on this very exact issue. But let me just say quickly that equality between men and women could never ever be achieved. It's a farce. It's just something used by society to blindfold people, as far as I'm concerned. Because let me show you something. You just stated something there, Stephen. First and foremost, there are differences between men and women, not just emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and so forth, but also physically. We are built differently. Mm-hmm. And if we want to talk, I remember Jordan Peterson had raised this issue where he said, okay, since they want equality in everything and so forth, it could never work because, one, if let's say the construction site, they said that you have to have equality where every man and woman, for every man you have to have a woman. You think that's going to work, Stephen?
No, that doesn't make sense because we have to recognize the physical differences. I agree
That's
with
my
you.
point.
But my concern, Kenson, right, is one. Let me tell you another point to really provoke you and get you upset now.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, right,
Mm-hmm.
the point that they are making is that one of the points one of the authors made is approximately 7% of your national income is spent on people who are 65 years and older. 0.5% of your national income. 15 times less approximately, 14 times less, whatever you want to call it, less, are spent on children. Right? Now you go turn it to your local politics now. Look at what we are doing in our country now. Look at what our opposition is offering us to replace. Ralph is on his way out. Let's be honest. Let's be perfectly honest. A 77-year-old man, he's on his way out. Whether it's this election or the next one, you could argue about. That's your business, right?
Right.
But what the opposition is offering us? What has been different? What has been different over the last 10 or 15 years that the opposition are offering us? Are we not faced again with electing a whole pile of old people? Are we not faced again with looking at focusing much of our resources on old people? And when I bring that up specifically about pensions and the NIS debates.
I know that.
I'm talking about these things because the reality
what
is people under 18 don't vote.
Right.
People over 60 do. That's why I say you should ban people over 65 from voting.
Okay.
Let's focus. I'm 61. Let's focus on the young people.
Cancel. We could go back in your segment, buddy. Leave it to rant and get off your chest. Go ahead, continue. Get off your chest. Go on. Get it stripping this off your chest.
I just want to say, right, Kenson, to turn to local politics, which Bing loves, right?
Right.
You keep doing the same thing.
Over and over.
You keep losing over and over. You keep offering basically the same candidates over and over. Last time around, you even brought back a guy from 20-something years ago to run. Right? Mr. Wiley, I believe, right? Well, I mean, look, that party.
And he's back again.
NDP. And he's back again. The NDP strategy to me seems to be, right? I have to wait till they get fed up of Ralph. How often do we... No, I like Major Lee Koch. He has a lot to offer. Daniel Cummins is a personal friend of mine. I like Daniel. Both of them need to go home. They're about to be 70 or more than 70 years old at the next election. Where are the 40 and 50-year-olds? Where is the next generation coming from? You could cuss Ralph all you like, right, Kenson? You could cuss him all you like, but at least he tries to promote young people and push them along. What is the NDP doing? I happen to know personally about certain situations involving close to late 30s, 40s, and 50-year-old people, and then excellent females who want to run for this party and are basically being marginalized. So when the NDP wins next time, if they do, then I will be marginalized for saying what I regard as the truth, right? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results, the definition is again
insanity.
So so I'm off my chest.
I'm
off my chest.
Or stupidity.
It's off my chest. Or stupidity, or greed, or worse yet.
Ego.
I
put that in.
Ego. Well said. It's our ego. We've been trying for so long to get in and we're not willing. Why did Arnhem stay so long? I was a person who had a lot of good things to say about Arnhem. I liked Arnhem. I thought he would have made an excellent prime minister. He's an intelligent, sensible man, right? Okay. I thought so. But the reality is, if you keep losing and you keep offering yourself, are you really interested in the good of your country? Or does your ego begin to get in the way? Ask yourself those questions, guys. Is what the NDP doing now? If they win the next election, if the NDP, they will not win it because of what they're offering people. They will win it because people are fed up of the ULP and Ralph. If that happens, at this stage coming into election number 6, it shouldn't be close. It shouldn't have been. We shouldn't have been having a debate at election 4 and 5, and now 6 coming up. It shouldn't be close. The fact that we are even thinking that it could be close tells you that the NDP needs to do an introspection and say, what the hell are we doing here? What are we offering our customers? And your customers are the voters. You're in the market of selling yourself. This is what you are doing. And you're selling the same old thing over and over and trying to tell people, drink it. I don't care whether you like it or not. Drink it anyway.
Council, come and help me here, please. Somebody come, please.
Listen, I'm just giving my opinions, right? This is my opinions. I could be 100% wrong. But I think I have evidence on my side. You've lost 5 in a row. If you lose 6, what happens? What happens then? Think about that. If you lose 6, and the next election is due in 7 years' time, Daniel Cummins will be over 75. Leacock will be over 75. Dr. Friday will be 70 or over. Our friend in Sion Hill, Fitz
Rambo,
will be approaching 70 in 7 years' time. Where are the good young people? Why? What are you selling people? Am I wrong?
Council's backstage.
If I am wrong, let's talk to Jomo.
Council's backstage. Let's bring him one time. Shitty should have already had the drop lineup. Let's bring him in one time. Let's go. It's now time.
Plain talk. Plain talk with Jomo Thomas.
So much things to say right now.
All you talk now
on OMG.
Council, I think it's your job this morning to help.
I don't know. I don't know what
it's all your
talking
fault.
about.
You started me thinking with that article you wrote.
Right?
And it's all your fault that you make me doing these things and go back to look and think more about what's happening. So it's your fault. So you apologize.
I didn't hear all that you said. All I heard the last minute or so, because I can't pick up boom on when I get onto my computer anymore. I don't know what's happening. Every other station comes up except boom. But
you need to refresh your browser on your tune.
I've been doing that for weeks, sir.
Right, well, we will talk about that after.
I think you are fundamentally correct, and that's the point I was trying to make in my column. I didn't hear much of what you said, but that's the point I was trying to make in my column. This is why I set up the contrast to show what the Prime Minister is attempting to do and what he would effectively do. And then the question becomes, what kind of narrative would the opposition have to counter that? And if they have an opportunity, and this is why I said Friday's opportunity is now or never, that if they don't move aggressively to counter what the PM is doing, they may well, and it is possible, that they could win the popular vote by an even larger margin this time, but lose 9 seats all by 1 vote. And because parliamentary democracy is first past the post, you end up with a situation where you lost 6 in a row. And that would not be good. I think, though, when you listen to the opposition, they believe that whatever happens, they are going to win this time. And there's a real possibility that that can happen. But that possibility existed ever since the 2010 election, because the 2010 election took them from 12-3 to 8-7. So you can be sure that many of them were thinking, many of supporters and leaders and members of the party were thinking, okay, we have it this time. But I don't think they have done the hard lifting to take them over the top. And
it's hard when your ego gets involved, isn't it? No, I mean,
yes,
it's really hard.
The point I was making is that if you are 35, the only leader you know,
if you're 40,
Vincent,
not 35, 40.
40 is Ralph Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And
correct.
if you have him, and you have a man like him who is in your face, aggressive, pointing to what he has done, even though much of it is a mirage, if you're not a thinking person, you may well conclude, well, boy, as Mitchell used to say, if better can be done, let worse continue. Look, the opposition has a major, and I try to point in some of the ways in which, right? PM Gonzalez, if PM Gonzalez, and let me tell you how aggressive he is, right? If PM Gonzalez could have snared me to run for him in 2015 or to become a senator in 2013, it tells you how unrelenting he is in going for what he wants to go for. And I think the opposition need to learn some of those tactics. They need to go and look for bright, young, articulate, committed people and say, we want you to run. And if they do that, they are going to find out that there are many, many people who are young, bright, articulate, and committed who will be willing to run for them. And one of the principal reasons why that's the case is because if anyone had any doubt before 2020, those doubts have completely melted away, because the stranglehold, which the PM used to call the Cordon Sanitaire, you remember that, on the Eastern Corridor, is no longer there. Mm-hmm. Everybody now thinks that everybody on the Eastern in the Eastern Corridor can lose with the possible, well, not with the possible, with the exception of PM himself. So all of those seats are up for grab. You can get candidates to run for them. But Stephen, I think that you make a very important point, and that is that the egos. I remember I talked to a NDP politician who told me that he doesn't mind leaving, but there's so many things to do. He would at least like to get one term in. In my brain, my mind immediately went to Charles de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle, the former president of France, who said the national cemetery is filled with indispensable men.
Absolutely right. Well said.
Right?
Well said.
So,
absolutely.
If you believe that you must have another term, you may be shooting yourself in the foot, because you don't sacrifice your own personal ambition for the ambitions of your party's success.
And Jomo, let's not forget, Ralph Gonsalves only wanted 2 terms.
Right.
So when they go in there and they get their 1 term, you know what will happen, right?
Yeah. Well, part of the thing, the difference is, Stephen, is that Ralph Gonsalves wanted 1 term when he was 46. He's now going for 6 when he's 77. Yeah. But these guys who want just 1 term are late 60s, early 70s.
Yep.
Elections may be called, I believe, this year. But even if they were called in 2025, by then some of them will be topping 70. And as you correctly said in your last comment, if they fail this time, by the time they go back in 2030, they would be heading for mid 70s or late 70s in some of their cases.
Do you honestly, do you think that if a Major Leacock, Daniel Cummins, and the others were to fail in this coming election, that they'll really seriously want.
No. I don't think that. I don't think that.
We could have said that before the last election too.
That's true.
We could have said that before the last election.
No, I don't think so. But you see, I think part of the NDP's strategic problem is that you have men like Cummins and you have Friday or you have Nature. I mean, the NDP official told me, well, you know, what are we going to do with Nature? Nature is the most won by the largest margin.
Exactly. That's
That's
a really stupid. And the question
well,
is, what
I mean, if that's the level of thinking, then you are not seriously thinking about governance. Because, and I give the example with the way in which former Prime Minister James Mitchell dealt with Carlyle Duggan. He simply kicked him up the stairs. Said, "Look, go to England and change your name from Duggan to Dugan. Spend a few years there, and come back." But he made way for somebody whom he thought was the bright future, Mr. Adam Eustace. I think that the opposition need to do that. And I give the example of Grenada, where many of the older statesmen in the NDC, who had toiled for a long time, gracefully stepped away, allowed younger. I mean, look what they did. They were so enterprising. They was almost revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked Nazim Burke, who had lost 2 consecutive elections, out of the running.
Mm-hmm.
And brought in Deacon Mitchell, who had no experience at all in politics.
Absolutely.
And they went from 0
to 9.
To 9. I don't think that has ever happened any place in the Caribbean. With the possible exception of Michael Manley in I think it was 1989. But in 85, the PNP had boycotted the election when Siaga sprung an all election on them. PNP boycotted. And then in 1989, PNP won, I think, 49 seats. But the PNP would not have lost all of their seats, even if they had contested in 1985. But
hold on, you wanted to say something when he was making a point a while ago that you were trying to get in. You lost. Okay, continue.
No, sorry. The point Joe Meyer I wanted to make heavily, which you've also reinforced. Why is it that we think we can only make a contribution by being an elected politician?
That's the point. That's the point I was going on to.
What happens if Daniel Cummins, for example, let's pick Daniel, right? Okay, let's take Daniel, and who's focused on health, who has expertise in utilities, particularly water and so on, right? What makes us think that he cannot do an even better job by not being an elected politician, but instead, should the NDP win, being chairman of those boards?
Exactly.
Being involved
you know who did that, Stephen?
Basically.
You know who did that?
What is wrong with us?
You know who did that for 2 terms on the Labour Party? John Thompson. Remember, John Thompson won 2 terms, but he never became a minister.
Ask the question, Jomo. Who made a bigger contribution to this country in the last 20 years than Julian Francis, other than Ralph Gonsalves? Who elected politician made a bigger contribution in this country than Julian Francis in terms of getting things done?
Your point is
Julian was never elected.
No, I think the point he's making that you don't have to be elected to make an outstanding contribution, and that's clearly the point.
So you guys are basically saying that some of the older heads in the NDP can step aside to make the party look more
youthful, they have to make the party more attractive,
and
not just look.
Bing.
Yeah.
The party is sufficiently attractive with these men and women that they got 542 votes more than the ULP in the last election. Yep. What they don't have is the win switch. They don't have that win switch, and that's the point I made. And when I was doing the analysis with Lavon Gibson Phillips, can she win? Yes, she can win. Will she win? We're not sure yet.
Right.
But if you have a more attractive, different candidate, you can almost be certain that if you wrap that around so many other younger, enterprising people, they're gonna sweep.
If you put Akin John there, there's no debate. Everybody is saying Camilo's done.
Well, that's my position too.
Am I wrong?
But you have to wrap. You have to wrap some.
Guys, someone said to me, okay, who has shown interest, a young person, right? That maybe if that person, if I don't want to say the gender, if the person were to move in, that it will open up, because there are a lot of other young enterprising
Want to
people
get
who want
involved.
to get
Yeah,
involved,
yeah.
that it will pave the way for them to get involved.
And there certainly is an image that being blocked by these older men.
Yes.
Right? That this is a reality too. I know certain people, females in the NDP, who feel that they are blocked by older men, that they're not being listened to by older men. You've got to change not just the perception, but you've got to change the reality. Not just the optics, but you've got to change.
Here's an example. I don't know if you all heard this, but I heard it, and there's some credence to it, I think. There was a time when Mr. Eustace moved out. A number of people tried to pull Maye in. Now, I have known Maye for a long time, probably more than 2 decades. And this is a young, bright, articulate, committed Vincentian woman. But you know what the argument was against Maye coming in? That she had a Bajan accent. That's the level to which people argue against. Yeah, that's the level to which people in the party chop themselves off at the foot.
Because there's another fine example. A bright young woman, successful bright young woman. I mean, we could go to Sheffield, London. We could go to Laverne King if you want bright young women coming up, right? Oh, I mean, there are options.
But why people like Shafia London? Why is she not putting forward herself then?
No, but why she? But she may not. But Bing, she may not have to put forward herself. What you need to do is for a group of people. It is said, right, that when when the Labour Party and Ralph Gonsalves
merged.
What is it called again?
Merged.
No, what was the party? What was Ralph Gonsalves' party? MNU. Right. That a committee of elders went to them and said, look, you guys are joking. We have to get Mitchell out of here. So it doesn't have to be the person coming forward. It means that they can go for her and for other people. They can speak and say, look,
I don't see the present crop of the people who are holding on because
ever
of the
stepping aside.
And I don't
that
want
ego's
to go
too much. That ego's too entrenched.
The
ego's too
well,
entrenched.
I am not so sure it's ego. I think it has to do with 20th century thinking.
20th century thinking?
Yes, the thinking in the party has not evolved into this century. That you have. I was looking at a interview with Julius Malema, the president of the Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa, and Malema makes a simple point. He says politics is about addition, but you hear people say, including NDP supporters, well, you have to watch the supporter from the ULP, you know, because they may come in to as a spy or this or that. Well, look, if you don't want a Stephen Joachim, who you think might have supported Labour, why would you want Stephen Joachim's daughter if she's 18? Why?
So, Jomo, we are doomed. If that is the mentality, we are doomed. As I said, right? And some people get very upset with me. We're looking at swapping Ralph Gonsalves. I have no interest in swapping Ralph Gonsalves. I have interest in looking forward to the future about what can come next and what can we do better than where we are currently.
We need good.
If this is the level of our mentality, then all we're going to do, as my friend Ken Boy said many years ago, same old kind of, what's the point?
What we need, St. Vincent is a resource-starved country. If any politician comes in and tells me, I'm going to promise and I'm going to deliver on good governance best practices, I'm going to deliver on transparency. I'm going to deliver on broadening the democratic space. I'm going to select the best persons for the job, particularly on the boards and so on. Look what the actuarial report just told us. Prime Minister Gonsalves need to give up 2 of the 3 persons on the investment committee at NIS. And it was a veiled way of saying that the investment committee rubber stamps what the government wants. So they say move those out and bring in somebody who has the acumen Who has the commitment? Who has the look at the political elite, the political directorate in the face and say, hell no. We're not doing this because you are wasting the NIS money. And sometime later, we may not be able to pay off persons who are deserving and worked all their lives.
All right, guys, let's take a session and quick really come back. And I want to talk about the census and the impact the census can have on all of what we're discussing. Let's do this quickly and come right back, Shady.
Boom 1069 is trending.
Turn up the music. Turn down the light.
Blazing on the air at 1069 FM.
What does this button do? Lord, have mercy.
On your phone or device at tunein.com or on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Boom SVG 1069.
The number one morning show in the SVG. OMG in the morning.
Come on now.
I love it when my baby ride it like a thoroughbred. Slow it down and bubble like
Slow motion.
Baby, your loving gives me fever. Your mama feel like, oh, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you all night.
Slow motion.
Baby, your love is like tequila, intoxicating. I wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you all night.
We went for dinner on the wall. How about that? We are loving of it all. When we go, you know the bedroom of the dog. We start before we part. Shoulder full of bar.
Jungle like just say the mood. Me nah lie, me could do wait until me. We slow it down and we got very, very rude. It better when it loose. So let me express my gratitude. Sing that stop.
Baby, your loving gives me fever. Your mama feel like, oh, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you, would I love you all night. Baby, your love is like tequila, intoxicating. I wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you, wanna love you all night.
The number one morning show in the SVG. Morning. OMG in the morning.
We're back inside with Kongsu and the Cutlass. Let's go, guys. Continue from you were making a point. One of you were making a point.
No, my point is very simple, that we can make a contribution, right? And that my concern, I need to see improvement. What are we going to do better in the future? What are we concerned about? I started this conversation, Jomo, on the articles that I sent you talking about boys and the problems with boys and men and stuff in our society. And I don't ask me how I ended up here other than being dragging me in this direction, right? But, you know, that's my concern. My children are all Canadian citizens. They don't live here. They don't have to live here. So I don't have any personal ego in this thing, right? I happen to believe St. Vincent is a spectacularly beautiful country which can do very well economically. But I also happen to think that we have to change direction and focus more on what we are doing. Our education system needs a lot of work. Right? One of the questions I asked Jomo is how many male teachers do we have versus female teachers? Is there any thinking about what is it we're going to need for the future? What are we going to need in 20 years' time when I am practically old and dead and gone if I'm still around, right? What are we thinking about for the future? What is the NDP telling us about the future? Compare to Ralph Gonsalves. Say what you like about Ralph. Hate him or whatever. Published papers. He wrote things. This is what we're going to do. Never mind what was done and not done. That's a different thing. That's a scorecard issue, right? But what is it that the NDP are proposing to do that is going to be different other than the citizenship by investment program, right? What specifically, where do you see the country being in 20 years' time, and how are you going to get us there and make sure our youth are prepared? Our gangster problem, our problem with young men is not just to do it's not an isolation thing. It's our society thing. We say every year we have 1,800 kids roughly right in common entrance. You could use that for a proxy of people entering school, right, Jomo? Roughly. How many are coming out at the other end with meaningful accomplishments?
But Stephen, one of the ways in which you can know that we are catering for mediocrity, right, is that every year we give every student who passed 5 subjects or more $500.
Yep.
Now, and that money is coming from the NIS.
Yes.
And an informed source told me
that money is coming from the Providence, the interest of the Providence Fund, though.
That my source told me that program, it has already cost $15 million since it's been done.
I think that was a wrong thing to do, by the way.
Of course, it's wrong. But the larger point I'm making to support your point is that even if you want to give an incentive, you probably say, we will give an economic incentive to those students who pass 5 courses with 5 1s or more.
Jomo, I want to disagree on one thing there. I wanted the idea, Jomo.
Excuse me?
Sorry. Jomo, can I tell me? I want to disagree with you on one point there. This is not an incentive. It is a reward. And we need to understand the distinction. An incentive is something you look at and you say, I'm going to study hard, I'm going to work hard.
Yes, I agree with you.
Nobody's doing that for $500. Nobody. I don't believe that.
How do you know?
I don't believe it.
How do you know?
I tell you
because
what I believe.
you can't relate to it, and you may not be able to.
You
may not be able to. I can't relate to it.
Oh, because you're rich people.
No, but that's the point. The large majority of people, poor people, can relate to that.
Excuse me. I have a lot of young single women in my office who have children. Not a single one of them have ever indicated that their child is motivated because they might get a $500 at the end of it.
But they may not say it to you, Stephen. They may not say it to you.
No, but whether they say it or not is not. I think that one of the reasons why it is done,
and it's also strategic as well too.
I think the Stephen point is that it's not an incentive. I think he correctly made the point that it's a reward. That you pass 5 subjects, doesn't matter what kind of grades you got. Once you have a pass, then you get $500. And you who gives out the check? What is being done?
Who's handing out the checks? Yep.
Strategic.
Of course, it's strategic.
Who gives out the check?
It's not good for our country.
Bing. I got to tell you, right? If you notice in my column, I use the term
big red.
Yeah, you disgraceful, disgusting human being.
How dare you?
How dare you say that?
I think it just captures essentially. And I heard it on you guys' program, so I guess it's important listening.
Bing started this stupidness. He says he's in a chat group. He's the only black man with 2 red men, and Grant is the big red because he's much bigger than me. So and then he took it over. But Ralph is even bigger than Grant. So and I'm little red. So that's where.
I think that description is apt. In fact, I think the prime minister might like it.
He likes it. I understand that there's a slogan coming with it as well too.
Yes,
we have been discussing slogans with Big Red for the next election campaign. We have
don't be surprised. The ULP can mark it. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Let's talk about the census. Do you guys think that the census will be used to maneuver the constituency to add constituencies and all of that, move boundaries? How will that affect the people who are confident? The guys, I'm not referring to them as grumpy old men. I will never do that. Those people in those constituencies.
Jomo, over to you, buddy.
Well, I don't think if the ULP thought that they could have maneuvered the constituencies to win seats, they would have done it already. I don't see, based on the present configuration, the way in which the voting has gone, how they could make a seat out of what we have now to help them to win an extra seat or an additional seat. I think we have gone past that. What I think the census may do, and the census, I don't think there's any malevolent reason for doing it. It's long overdue. Remember, they were supposed to have one, and then I think the documentation was burnt in the financial complex, and they were supposed to. That's 4 or 5 years ago. So we are due for another one. What I think the census would do is to show the government analysts where everything is, and it may help them to target what they want to target in terms of vote catching and so on. But they don't even have to go there. They did a poverty assessment some time ago, And one of the reasons why they buried the poverty assessment was because they discovered that poverty is more pervasive now. I remember when I was at the Social Investment Fund, there were pockets. We were told Barley, Sandy Bay, some parts of Georgetown, but the 2018-2019 census seemed to indicate that poverty is now pervasive across the country and deep levels of poverty. So they have to have a blanket approach to any kind of largesse which they're going to serve up. And if I don't see how they can serve up more than they serve.
You don't think people with a political mindset as a big red will take a look at this census and say,
of course it would.
Okay.
Look, Prime Minister Gonzalez is a policy wonk, you know. He looks at all of these things and he looks at these things deeply. He's trying to see how he can get an advantage. And that's why he's framing the youthful thing that he's framing. He's finding ways to make himself most attractive.
Yep.
Because he wants to outmaneuver the opposition.
Yep.
So
He
you
has
can be
to
sure he
argue
does
this-
the census. It is one person who is going to sit now and study that census is Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez. That's
he has
him.
to argue in this. He has to argue in this election that this is about a bunch of, as you said, grumpy old men in the NDP versus my young people. Not me, because I'm going home, guys.
But he's not. He's.
I think that's the argument.
Hold on, guys. Caller, good morning. You're live with the callers and in council.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Mr. Joachim.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say something directly to you.
Sure.
You made a statement this morning, which tells me that you read ULP information. You pay attention to Ralph and the ULP information.
Actually, I don't.
It doesn't seem to me you read the NDP.
Actually, I don't. I don't read much. I generally, just to correct you, I do not read the ULP column. I do not read. I don't even watch TV, local television.
But how can you?
I read
how
eyewitness
can you
news
say?
extensively.
How can you speak of what the ULP is putting out there as being something positive, and the NDP is not putting anything out there? That's what you're saying, then?
No, I'm saying my perception, and I'm entitled to my opinion and my
Right,
perception.
and people are going to listen to you and go on what you say.
I doubt
Which
that
is
very
wrong.
much. I doubt that very, very much. I've been saying the same thing.
But Stephen, I think the way you deal with that is to ask the gentleman to point to what they're putting out, because I read both of the columns. You see, we can't speak in generalities. I think one of the
Hold on, caller.
I think the point Stephen intended to make is that when the ULP was vying for governance, every Monday morning, there was a paper on banana, there was a paper on crime and violence, there was a paper on this, there was a paper on workers' control. I think that's the point he's trying to make.
Thank you, John.
And you don't get a published evidence of intellectual heft coming from the opposition. I don't think anyone can deny that.
All right, caller, you want to
ideas
are not what you say on a radio program or what you say in a newspaper.
And it's been putting out there in the media, written and
can you caller? Can you deny that the core of the NDP are aging rapidly, and that same core has been there for a lot of years?
I
Can
could
you
agree
deny
that
that?
there's issues in the NDP that need to change.
Right.
I could agree with that. But to say that
fair enough,
they're not putting out anything, I think that's
I accept your
But
point.
What are they putting out? What are they putting out?
Education. I want to make a quick point about education.
Yes, please.
I was in a little seminar over the weekend and dealing with construction products. And as one member of the seminar make a point, we have a problem where construction workers, the choice to work as a construction worker is put forward as a failing choice. If you fail in school and you can't get another job, go do construction.
And that's why I object. That's one of the reasons I object to the $500 thing. It's reinforcing the wrong things.
I agree with that too. I agree with you on that point.
Yep.
And until our education system and our mindset, our people and our banking system change the philosophy and how they treat construction workers And as somebody else made the point, how a construction laborer is different from a farm worker laborer.
Yep.
When our financial institutions give credence to these workers that they could access other facilities like office clerk who is working for way less money than these laborers.
Yes.
Until we have these changes in our education and our mindset, we have people like Ralph Gonsalves in power still.
Well,
thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah,
I accept what he said. He has, but and I thank Jomo for defending me there, because Jomo is absolutely right. That's the point I was getting at. But you also can't deny the reality of what's in front of you, right? And we need, as I keep saying, we need to look to the future. Ralph Gonsalves is now a part of the past rapidly, right? If even these things are wrong another 5 years,
I don't think.
Sorry, Jomo, go ahead.
I don't think that people understand. I don't think that people understand that governance is an intellectual affair.
Yes, correct.
So you don't rabble-rouse your way. Well, you could, but if you rabble-rouse your way into power, and you don't come up with some policies that are sufficiently attractive to pull people, you're going to begin to lose that power. So part of the process of being attractive is to let people know that you study the problem, you study the situation, and you have heard some of the answers that you want to put forward. And you don't do that in a 1,000-word in a 1,000-word column in a newspaper.
Yep.
When Ralph Gonsalves wanted to convince people about COVID, he did a piece on COVID and the atomized individual and the collective. So he made an intellectual argument for it. It was a lot of bamboozlement, but at least it was an attempt at intellectually helping people to understand what he was talking about. But that is what we need. That is what we need. And unless we get it, unless we start getting it from a younger, committed voice, and those younger voices cannot be who have been offering up themselves in recent time.
Caller, thank you for holding. Good morning, your life.
Good morning. At a town hall meeting in 2019, during the question and answer section, someone told Dr. Friday that you're recycling candidates.
Yeah.
And Dr. Friday said, no, we don't recycle candidates.
Yeah.
And then 1 year later, here comes Bernard Wiley. Hold on. I just want to say this and get off. Eustace, people were calling for Eustace to go after he lost his second election in 2005. But they run him in 2010. But it makes sense for them to run him in 2015 based on what happened in 2010. Because in 2010, he moved from 3 seats in 2005 to 7 seats. And he also moved his own personal amount from 145 to 400 something, over 300 votes. So it makes sense for him to run the 4th term. I don't know if it did make sense for the 3rd term, but the 4th term. Just like ULP had 3 seats, and then they moved to 7, and then the next time they won. So, we ourselves, that would have been the same way. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
My concern here, right? I am not just interested in winning, right? I think the NDP has an excellent chance to win, exactly as it is now. They have an excellent chance to win, right? The reality, as Jomo has said earlier, you look at the swing votes, you look at what's going on, right? I think the COVID thing will hurt Ralph and the ULP, right?
I hope it does.
Estimate that, right? So I don't think, but the NDP may well win. I am not concerned about the NDP winning. I am concerned about what is going to be better for the future of our country and our children in 15 and 20 years.
Stephen,
khaki pants. What's the point
Stephen,
of this? Yes,
Stephen, there's a danger to that argument, and you should refrain from making it.
Go ahead.
The ULP has been in power for 5 terms.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
And they have hardly moved the needle. I am saying, as one former banker told me some time ago, it is time to break the spell.
Right.
If we break the spell and NDP go in and they play the fool, the people in St. Vincent must feel that they have a right and a duty to throw them out in one term. That is what the St. Lucians have done. In the last 4 election cycle, let me finish the thought. In the last 4 election cycles, St. Lucia has changed government. And we have to get to the point where if guys are not performing, we need to get them out. Because if we do that, then they know they have to up the game. If we simply allow guys to go on and on and on and on based on empty rhetoric, then the country never advances.
Okay,
Jomo, I agree 100% with you. I've always been arguing about the St. Lucia model. I think you kick them out every term because governments don't have the solutions. They're the problem. They are not the solutions. The private sector development of people are the basic solutions first, right? In my view, government's role is not to supersede the private sector, but to regulate them and to spend our tax money wisely and to educate people and provide healthcare for them and provide security. Those are the basic things that governments are supposed to do.
Well, I have a shade with that, but in the sense that you said that the government is not a solution. I think the government facilitates all of what you are saying.
Absolutely.
Council, let's get specific solutions because we're at the end of this segment. We got another one coming up. Specific solutions to the problems. Let's go. Specific.
From me?
Yes, let's go. Let's go with you.
No, I'm not running for government.
No, but you.
I said at a minimum, what I would like to see is a government that emphasizes good governance best practices.
Right.
A government that is interested in transparency and efficiency and effectiveness. So, for example, if I were the NDP, one of the first things I would do when I get in, is to get a forensic audit of the financing of the Argyle International Airport and the Petro-Carib Fund. Because I'm absolutely convinced, in the same way in which you could get forensic audits of cable and wireless and courts, and find out they were ripping us off millions of dollars. It's the same way we do forensic audit of these two. Maybe some people may land in jail, and that may be a good example on which we build St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And specific solutions as to how they will get there given the current slate.
How they would get where? To power?
Into office.
Well, I thought I pointed the way in my last column. You have to get rid of some of the older heads. And they have to go aggressively to attract younger, brighter, more articulate people. They have the capacity to do it because any young, bright, articulate person now knows that the ULP can be beaten, that the ULP is vulnerable. So they would not be afraid to say, let me put myself in the ring because there's a real chance. I am of the view, and this is my last thought on this. If the NDP had ran Akin in 2015, and a different person in South Windward, and a different person in Maracor, just those three faces alone, they would have won the election.
We're likely to be in power now.
Okay.
You want specific solutions?
Yeah, specific solutions.
Again, I'm thinking 20 years down the road, right? I want to see huge improvements in our primary education system. That's what I want to see first and foremost. Education matters, okay? Primary education matters, okay? I want to see then a focus on vocational and technical training, a lot better than we have currently, right? I want to see a tenders board that is independently appointed. I want to see an investment committee at the NIS that are made up of independent people, who are not just qualified independent people. I want to see a situation where people are rewarded by merit. Okay, these are the things that I would like to see. I would like to see real integrity legislation, right? Jomo's right about transparency and integrity and forensic audits and all of these things. Great and wonderful, but these things do matter. However, thinking about the future, if you don't get educated, if you don't start modifying your education system to stop this crazy focus on how many C-sex people can get, and instead the reality of the world, when you look at what's going on in artificial intelligence and you realize what is going on in the rest of the world, you realize that what matters now is creativity. It is not about giving people computers, but they're not integrated into the school system. So it has to be integrated as part of your curriculum. You have to learn how to do research. You have to learn how to work in groups of people. You have to learn how to manage people. Bringing in investment is not difficult if people feel confident.
And specific solutions for the NDP to get into office.
I told you already, my view is simple. Recruit some more aggressive young people and stop telling people who I happen to know, oh, there's 3 or 4 or 5 people ahead of you and you have to go through the same process. Okay, good. Oh, well, great, wonderful. Yeah, go through the same process and see where that gets you. How has it worked for you in the past? They may still win. But I'm in 100% agreement with Jomo. When Jomo wrote his column, I messaged him and I said, Jomo, I agree with you, except I think you're wrong on two things. Cummins and Leacock need to go also. That's what I told
Guys,
them.
thank you very much.
Not because I don't like them or because I don't think they're capable.
Yes.
But, at some point, guys, we need some vibrancy.
Yes.
And the reality, I'm 61 years old now, Bing. I don't have the vibrancy I had at times when I was 50 years old. I can't imagine what I'm going to feel like when I turn 70. I know I don't have the same energy levels as I did at that point, but I have different ways to contribute. And I think both Daniel and Major have significant contributions to make, but you don't have to be an elected official. And if you care more about the country, I will argue with you guys that you can step aside and bring in some attractive young people. And your job is to train them and get them ready. That's your job. I mean, Mitchell did it in the past. Ralph Gonsalves keeps trying to do it. Say what you like about him again. You can disagree with him, but he does try to bring in young people and involve them. And you can argue about that, but that's not. Those are my things that I'm.
I wasn't married to Daniel and Sinclair. I just thought that where they are now.
Yeah.
Reality. They probably wouldn't want to move them out. So therefore, you take those two and then you break out from there.
All right, guys. All right, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. We've got another segment with Mr. Weeks. Let's see what he has to say about all of what was discussed this morning.
I was supposed to be at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
you still have me here. However, I can't. If Lansford is coming,
you got to hear what Lansford
has. Let me spend 5 minutes with my friend. I haven't heard from him in a while.
I should spend 5 minutes too, just to hear what
you see. Now, Jomo want to spend 5 minutes as well with Lansford too.
I agree.
Let's take a quick break and come right back. Go ahead, Shady, take the break and come back. Let me go.
Protect the children. Yeah. Don't be afraid to speak out.
Isn't it good to know?
Physical and sexual abuse must stop.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
Keep calm. We're online now. Thousands of local content for your viewing pleasure. Live. Boom. IKTV. Tune in. Get interactive. Get involved with WhatsApp or Instagram. Interact Live. Party.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts of motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon, this is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metrosint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metrosint General Insurance Company.
Your vision is our mission at Kurtz Optical. Shop today for up to 25% off. And with Ready Finance, pay nothing for 30 days. Book your free eye examination appointment online at www.kurtzoptical.com. Your vision is our mission. Up to 25% off your completed eyewear. Only at Kurtz Optical. Value you can see. Conditions apply. See in-store for details.
Keep calm. We're online now. Thousands of local content for your viewing pleasure. Live. Boom. IKTV. Tune in. Get interactive. Get involved with WhatsApp or Instagram. Interact Live. Party from home. Subscribe, follow, send us your voice notes. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, or call us live in studio. Be where the world is going. Stay home and connect online. Boom 1069, IKTV. Join the evolution. It's all about you. Connect now.
Discover New Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
Your vision is our mission at Quartz Optical. Shop today for up to 25% off. And with Ready Finance, pay nothing for 30 days. Book your free eye examination appointment online at www.quartzoptical.com. Your vision is our mission. Up to 25% off your completed eyewear. Only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Conditions apply. See in-store for details.
Isn't it good to know that no matter where you are, you're covered? Covered by a company owned by Vincentians that understands your unique insurance needs. At Metro Saint General Insurance Company, we've invested 50 years of service to guarantee that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. When it comes to motor vehicle, property, employer's liability, business insurance, and much more, we've got you covered. Our professional and friendly staff understands your needs and ensures you understand your options. Metro Saint General Insurance Company.
Keep calm. We're online now. Thousands of local content for your viewing pleasure. Live. Boom. IKTV. Tune in. Get interactive. Get involved with WhatsApp or Instagram. Interact Live. Party from home. Subscribe, follow, send us your voice notes. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, or call us live in studio. Be where the world is going. Stay home and connect online. Boom 1069, IKTV. Join the evolution. It's all about you. Connect now.
Open Monday to Saturdays from 3 p.m. until Hotel Alexandrina's Culture Bar and Grill, where flavors come to life.
Embrace the essence of summer at Woodsy Bar and Restaurant every Saturday. Immerse yourself in top-notch music and good vibes with Brooklyn and the Caribbean's top DJs. Join them for free roast pork and roast chicken, along with their happy hours from 5 to 7 p.m. Enjoy 5 beers for $20, $10 cocktails, $10 frozen margaritas, and $5 shots. It's the ultimate summer Saturday experience you don't want to miss. And mark your calendar for an unforgettable Labor Day weekend with friends and your crew at Woodsy.
Time to connect with the most loved man on radio. Sir Lancelot is in the building.
All right, it's now time for our friend Mr. Weeks, the most loved man on radio. Well, after
Why
me.
can't I
After
be
me.
loved? Why can't I be loved?
No, not you. You're
I'm too
horribly
red.
disgusting.
I'm too red.
Yeah.
Red people don't get
Mr.
loved.
Weeks, it's now time for you to burn, buddy. Let's go. Let's go, Mr. Weeks. We're waiting on you. Yeah. These people in here. You don't want to talk to you. You are Jomo. No, you are Jomo. You are Jomo. You don't want to talk to
you. He likes me. He doesn't like you.
Yeah, right. You are Jomo. You are Jomo. Because normally Mr. Weeks is on the ball. Normally,
I did
Mr.
regular.
Weeks is. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes.
You think he's off?
Yeah, no, he's. Here he comes. Good morning to you, Mr. Weeks.
Good morning, Bing and
Am I send a letter to them?
Gentlemen meaning
The
you
office?
and Jomo.
That's email.
Small.
and all those who listen.
So it's now when I'm reading it, I realize it came back to me.
Morning. How are you today?
And I completely forgot.
You good, right?
All right.
Well, you heard the bacchanal these two guys brought up this morning. Hey, I don't know what you think.
You're so disrespectful. That's what you call the guys' discussion. Bacchanal.
Thank you very much, Mr.
That takes place elsewhere, Bing.
You call this what? Analysis?
Yes, discussion.
Analysis or discussion?
Bing, you don't hear well, you know.
Need some hearing aids.
Let's go. What you call what was said here this morning by both cops and Cutlass?
I called it already, Ding. Don't ask me to repeat.
You called it?
The last time somebody did that to me, you come and ask me to.
If the commissioner is not there, so there's an acting commissioner.
Yeah,
Did you want the acting commissioner?
When I was coming on, I heard them say on the phone, we hear him.
Frankie Joseph.
And then they asked me something I said. I didn't answer.
Then you want to do it?
The next day you come on and you
to Benjamin Blackton.
I said I apologize. I didn't explain it. And now you come, you do the same thing.
But they can talk for this time. They can speak for themselves.
The same thing.
Both Jomo and the Cutlass are here. They can speak for themselves.
And they know what is the
analysis.
Guys, and I don't know that I can contradict them. I don't know I can support them either. I can tell you about somebody who's training in analysis.
When we went to make the appointment to see the commissioner,
there's a principle in analyzing.
Some information from Simmons.
Who's Simmons?
Simmons.
You have to get information from Simmons to what?
Before she could the commissioner Simmons.
That analysis is based on.
Simmons is the guy at the civilian company.
Yeah. So we go back to
the situation.
Yes, Simmons
and
she can be really.
The analysis.
That don't make any sense. But that's the problem.
You introduce it.
They're always storming.
You then ceteris paribus, all things being equal.
So that's what I was saying. I'm going to ensure letter goes off today.
And remove.
What I would suggest.
I was telling my wife when
and I note that the NDP has been doing that.
Yeah. You know what the office is, right?
Yes.
Over the last 20 years.
In fact.
As a matter of fact,
I'll get them to print the letter and give it to you.
We were going after the past. We were more using regression analysis.
All right. So that's
God, what's your problem now, Bing? Bring on here. Regression, no.
Which is a legitimate, a very useful argument that you go back and you look at what happened in the past and you use that to predict what will happen in the future.
So done.
But the alternative is you can use ANOVA, the analysis of variance, which Stephen has been using, but that has its risk as well, in the sense that if you keep all things equal, even though you're simply analyzing the variance,
not really,
you will end up with problems.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I've said it so many times, I don't analyze political strategy because it's a high paying job. It costs political parties a lot of money. I'm sure Mr. Thomas can tell us that. He knows that. And therefore, and generally, you don't proffer advice unless it is asked for. So I am happy when high-paid man like Stephen and Jomo Thomas, Stephen joking at Jomo Thomas, can come and do it, and I sit down and I learn from them. That's as much as I am prepared to do. Bing. You stumped?
I'm listening. I'm listening to your analysis of their analysis.
And regression and variances, yes.
Yeah, Bing, but that's as much as I can say from the discussion all morning. But if there's any other thing, I heard you talking about census.
Before we get to it's time to, as a man who deals with statistics, given what was current, what is current, and what was said, and not going back as the Cutler said, what do you think on those specific issues?
What issues? What
Not going back, but looking forward to the future, not looking forward to the past. Let me use big red word.
They're all useful instrument in analyzing them. I mean, my favorite is regression. Use the data from the past, and you plot to predict what would. I love that. But what Carl Stone would tell you, if he was alive today, is that while you do the regression analysis, when you are interpreting it and providing advice, you have to be in the community and you have to understand what is going on there. And while the analysis, the data, will tell you one thing, you have to take into consideration what is happening in the community. As we saw the JLP did in 2016, all predictions was pointing to a huge victory for the PNP. It was a given that the PNP would have won back the election. But what they did, they brought in a pollster from Trinidad. Not the traditional pollster, not one that will simply go out using probability theory and collect data and making analysis and doing the prediction. This was a creative pollster who selected particular communities and did the polling, and the polling was not intended to predict who will win, but the polling was intended, and they used it quite effectively to determine the messaging going into the election, and it worked quite effectively. The JLP won the election against all odds, and they're still in government today.
Mr. Weeks, can I ask you a question?
Sure, my friend.
What do you think are the biggest? You're a man, I believe, of similar age to I.
Yes.
And as I said, the future for both of us is in the ground somewhere or in the ocean, depending upon which way we're going home.
But you can go in the ocean, Stephen. I don't have that.
Get cremated and then throw in the ocean, so I'm cool with that. Fish food is good. But what is it that we can do now? Or let me phrase it. What are the biggest issues you see in front of us currently that will affect us in 15 and 20 years' time?
Environment.
Okay.
That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the perception, the mindset of young people.
Okay.
I have been trying here for the last month or so to make a simple point to the young people. You do some simpler arithmetic, Stephen, and I can tell you on the average that each Vincentian worker produce and earn about $50,000 a year. And that's a simpler average. And I'm saying to...
I presume you're just taking the GDP and dividing it by the population?
By the workforce.
Okay.
If you divide by the population, you get a smaller number.
Okay.
I'm talking about what the actual workers produce, and I
as a whole,
take the theory that income is equal to expenditure.
Sure.
So I don't factor in rent and interest.
Okay, cool.
I just take it that all that is produced is going to wages. You do that, And you see that each Vincentian worker is producing and consuming $50,000 per annum. And I'm saying to the individual out there, use this as a guide, Stephen. And I hear you saying it in your own way. Use this as a guide and determine where you want to be in terms of the workforce relative to what is happening now. In other words, whether you want to be close to the average, you want to be above the average, or you just want to earn minimum wage, about maybe $12,000 or less a year. And take that decision and decide what you have to do now in terms of your schooling, in terms of the acquisition of skills, in terms of the experience you want to gather.
Well, that's for the reality too, right? Is that's good in principle, but the reality is that, you know, unfortunately for us as a species, if you like, we are highly penalized by a thing called youth, if you like, because we do not think when we are young. It never occurs to us. We don't have enough information to think and to analyze and to figure those kinds of things out. So they rely on us older folk. We are the ones who really decide what is best for the young people, right? Because if you're in school at 11, 12, 13 years old, and part of a big chunk of the problem I have with the education system is you are basically deciding your future. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines at 11 years old with this horrible common entrance thing, which is a just national disgrace as far as I'm concerned, and a serious indictment on the educational system in the country, because it means that your education revolution has failed, in my view. That after 22 years, you still have to get into girls' high school or grammar school, and that's all that matters. And I would like to think that in 20 years' time, that is no longer the case. That all our schools are at a good enough level. So you know what? You go to the school in your area. We're never going to have perfect equality, but we need to do much better than we are now. Because I'm not sure. If you go back from 25 years ago and analyze, and you'll do better at this than I, Lansford, right? Go back and analyze how many CXEs people were getting, how many people were graduating, how many, graduation rates from when you're at the end versus how many people started out, right? I'm not sure you're seeing any significant differences. Huh? I know you could talk about more people going to high school, and that's great and wonderful, or more people going off to universities, but you don't build a society just on university graduates alone, as I like to say, right? So, the reality then is how, if those of us at our kind of age, Jomo, Lansford, myself, Bing is still a little youngster, 52 or 54 now or whatever. But the point is, the point is, right?
Well, you keep counting.
The point is, we have to give back something. And what we need to give back is not what's in our best interest for the next 5 or 10 years, because we're going home. We have to give back what is in the 10-year-old's best interest now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're doing well enough in that area.
I agree with you, Stephen. And that's why I would always come to you to give in that regard. And you always do, Stephen. Mm-hmm. But we need more people like you, because there's lots of things that we have to give to the 10-year-old.
Yes.
And incidentally, maybe within the next week, I will come here and talk about something that we have been given and we want to expand on it. We have to teach our young people to be analytical. We have to teach our young people about science, and to get them out in the field at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the night, learning to do research, Stephen. You have contributed to that. I know you have contributed to that.
Mr. Weeks, let me step back on the analysis of youth and age and looking forward or not, or looking forward to the past and that kind of thing, right? And these guys' analysis this morning of the both political parties and what the NDP is doing or not doing, and thing. We still have a situation where Ralph Gonsalves is not a young man. He's an old man, and he's going into another election at an age which is quite old. Mm-hmm. But no one is speaking about that. We're speaking about the grumpy old men in the NDP. What's the difference here, Cutlass?
The difference is very straightforward. The current occupant of the position of power is who's in there. He has a track record. He has shown what he can and cannot do. right? We have something to judge him on. I look at the United States. Look at Joe Biden and compare him to Donald Trump. There's 3 years difference between them. 3 years. That's it. 81 versus 78. Trump is a young 78. Joe Biden is a very old 81. He's running again. I think it's crazy. First of all, I don't think Ralph Gonsalves should be running. Let me be clear here. Huh? I do not think Ralph should be running anymore. I think he's made his contribution. He should step aside and somebody else should take over. That's my view.
And he's,
so let me
he's
make it
running
clear.
as the most important, as a leader of the country.
Yeah, but look at
But we're not focusing on that.
No, because we haven't seen evidence, right, of aging in Ralph Gonsalves. We haven't seen him stumbling. We haven't seen him not being able to answer questions, right? I happen to think Ralph is a physical miracle, almost. I'll tell you that because a man of his of the way he has done what he has done to himself over the years, and I'm talking about his physical size, what he used to, because he's lost a lot of weight recently, right? I guess it's because he didn't smoke and drink. I guess why he's still alive. Because Ralph is a physical miracle to be around. However, his brain is as sharp as it probably ever was. And as long as your brain is sharp, there's no major issue here. The problem is Ralph has a record and he's done it. If Ralph was 70 years old and trying to get elected for the first time, we'd be having the same discussion. These people are trying to get elected into positions of power. No, at the age of 70 and beyond. That is the difference. And in addition, their party has lost 3 or 4 times. Sorry, 5 times in a row now, but certainly 3 or 4 times with the same men basically at the helm. The same 3 major people, if you like. So, I mean, at some point, do you not analyze and say, guys, what's really in the best interest of our country here and of my party? I think that's what you do. Over to you, Mr. Weeks.
Yeah, Stephen, thanks. He trouble now for the rest of the morning, Stephen. I hope you listen to the real bacchanal after this, after we hang up and we leave. The decision that the NDP should be making at this point in time, as a matter of fact, they should have done it since 2005. I think somebody said it in the this morning. Is to choose a leader. And I think Mr. Thomas is the one who points to Grenada all the time.
Yep.
The NDP needs to choose a leader for the future. Do it now.
Correct. Agreed.
You can't have a Ralph Gonsalves and ask Ralph Gonsalves to go and make the point that he has been there too long, so he must go. And who you want to replace Ralph Gonsalves with? And this is where the confusion was that. It's a Ralph wannabe.
A Ralph wannabe.
A Ralph wannabe.
Yeah, I know who he's referring. I think I know who he's referring to.
You can't have your leaders running around trying to become like a Ralph Gonsalves. Trying to say the things that Ralph does and to be poking others and that kind of thing. And walking around trying to feel like a Ralph Gonsalves and shaking your hands left, right, and center to all around you. When that's not your personality, all you're trying to do is to be a Ralph Gonsalves. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about leadership generally.
As a group.
And expect you have to real Ralph Gonsalves and they would replace him with you. And that problem exists in the ULP as well. Correct. You have a Ralph Gonsalves and you have a young man come and you can't differentiate between him and Ralph.
Yep.
Not even his voice.
Very true.
Was different.
Very true. And I have spoken to that young man and told him the same thing too. You need to stop this. You need to be yourself. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and I agree with you 100%.
To replace Ralph?
Yep.
Give on to Caesar that which is Caesar.
Yep. Be yourself. Play to your strengths, not somebody else's strengths. Yep. Well said, sir.
But being as I tell you, I don't normally do this publicly, because my back ain't big and broad like yours.
You're certainly not as big as him.
Yeah. Bing, you gone?
I'm here.
You listening to
I'll take off your headphones.
No.
You give me your weapon this morning?
No, never do that. Not me.
I think you had enough of me then. Good morning.
That love will never die.
Oh, Lord.
You come with your... Anyway, I ain't going there today. We can talk about that another time when you don't have Stephen and
so that you and I could fight up by yourself.
I don't fight, Bing. I see you a woman who want to fight with me. I don't fight. Much more to fight with a woman.
No, that would be wrong. That would be wrong.
I don't fight. I don't have the strength physically or mentally to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fight. To me, you ain't gonna fight up there.
Winston is saying the electorate in Grenada is not the electorate of SVG. What took place in the last election wouldn't happen in SVG. A young upstart with no political experience, the Vinci populates would throw him.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
So
there's one thing.
So we're gonna run around. We're gonna run around going South forever until he dies.
Yeah.
Ralph would leave us, Bing. If Ralph runs in the next election, that would be definitely his last.
Well, we heard that before.
Yes,
several times before.
You know, you didn't have to study biology to understand that.
And then we hear, well, you see, comrades, the leadership of the party demands that I stay, and I'm a party man. I can't go against the party's wishes. What are we gonna do?
That's working right there.
What a time, what a place, what a country. Oh boy. Let's see what we did this morning. That was
I'm waiting to hear Lansford speak, not you. I don't know, I would like to hear Lansford, not you.
Steve and the people who tell your listeners, that I am boring, that when I come on here, the listenership go down.
Mr. Weeks, this is the second time I've heard you said that, and I haven't.
And you didn't find out.
That happens to many of us. What's the big deal? Because you have to understand, you have different types of listeners. If you're gauging it just upon those who are on social media, you have people who listen on radio stations too.
Stephen, that's not the issue.
Oh, okay.
The issue is that you come on in the morning, and you see Mr. Thomas is going to come on at 7:45, and you stop right there. And then at 8:32, you end the conversation with Mr. Thomas, and you go off and you say, when we come back, we can talk, we can deal with your comments. And what happened after that? You go off and you spend 15 minutes playing ads as though it's a classified segment you have. I don't know which advertiser pay for primetime advertisement and have the ads played in that way. Then don't provoke me,
I don't know.
Don't provoke.
It's not about me. You're the one controlling the microphone.
All right, Mr. Weeks, I'll definitely check that out this morning. When I get
you play 15, 20 minutes ad, including a song. And then you come back and it lady drop. And you say, Mr. Weeks, it's your time to call now. I don't know why a woman wants to fight with me. I don't fight with women. I don't fight.
Oh, okay.
I don't fight them. But it's what everybody has been doing. I don't know what about me that you don't want to hear me talk. I can come here and talk for 5 minutes and go, thing.
Mr. Weeks, I did not ask you to be on this program to be that way, and I am the one who asked you to be here. You didn't ask me to be here, okay?
Better yet, I can compete with you.
Mr. Weeks, you're not easy this morning.
I had the opportunity in the past.
And I don't want you to do that.
Bing, I've had the opportunity in the past and I turn it down.
All right.
I can compete with you. I think we have said enough for today, Stephen, right?
Yes, he's here reading the comments.
Yes, I'm glad he gets an opportunity to read it.
My friend, I haven't stuck around with you for a while, so I thought I would make an effort to stick around and hear what you had to say.
I'm grateful, Stephen.
I enjoy talking with you. You know that, but it's a good chat. Always good conversation.
Yeah, you're a good man, Stephen.
Bing is
And
not.
it's not just because you support the children. He's generally a good man. I mean, there are certain things that
decent
he's done I would
good
talk to you about them.
Law, we can disagree in a civilized manner, you see, Bing.
Yeah,
Bing always wants to fight up and cuss and carry on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So people like you and Max, I hear Max the other morning.
Yes. I like Max. Max Kenson, they're good people.
I'm talking about Max.
Kenson, good people.
Mr.
Max.
Weeks.
Good people, Kenson. Good people.
Max.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks. I'll try and bring you back in before Thursday. Kent is another man could buy a certain hotel that you spoke about. He won his case.
Yeah, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean he's got tons of
No,
money.
you get
Lots of people win their cases. You
No,
got the money?
I heard from a good source that he got his money.
You-
I'm not
you
saying
said Jomo. You didn't
I'm
say
not
Jomo?
saying his lawyer Jomo told
You
me that.
didn't say
Okay,
that.
I heard from a good source.
I heard you said Jomo.
Yes, Kent got his money from the government that he won his case. I heard so.
Bing,
Yes.
Bing, before I go, thanks for reminding me. I hope Pastor is listening. And I know Pastor started a topic recently. I don't think there's much, I don't know the extent of the buying that he's had. He's been talking about justice. And he's been more general up to now. He's not focused on criminal justice yet. But I want to urge Pastor to be other than yourself. You hear the wickedness I'm doing to Pastor? I'm asking you, Pastor, to be other than yourself and speak point blank when you talk about criminal justice and talk about some of the things, some of the practices that are hurting our society and will destroy our future. Because I know you observe them, Pastor. I know you listen here and you hear them. I have listened to people talk about crime here for the last 2-3 months. And the only man who will come on here and talk about the criminal is Max Walker. That's the only person who come here and talk about the criminal. Everybody talk about everything else. The government, the police, nobody hold the criminal accountable. And that's what criminal justice is about. Actually, the opposite is practice. Where there are those who tell you how the criminal should get off. I think I'm sure you hear it sometimes. What the criminal should do or not do to make sure they win the case. And sometimes these people know the criminal had committed the crime. But justice, criminal justice, is about holding the criminal accountable. It's about accountability and restoration of the victim to the extent that it can happen. Pastor, I want you to use the examples. If you continue to talk about justice, use the examples. You hear them right here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks. Catch you tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Okay, cool. You gotta go, Cutlass.
I have to run.
Yeah, know that. We're gonna go to the top, and we're gonna take a song. We're gonna take a break. We come back. We're gonna say, those who vote for
Pastor, if you're listening, good morning, my friend. Have a great day.
Well, we're gonna. And now a ball, we're gonna hear from that one there, and then we're gonna hear from Dr. Richards.
Take care, guys.
All right,
Shady, look after yourself.
Catch you tomorrow morning, Cutlass. Let's go to the top and come right back there, Shady. Let's do that right away. And do that. Come right back. Here we go. Everybody.
Boom 106.9 is trending.
Turn up the music. Turn down the lights.
Blazing on the air at 106.9 FM.
What does this button do? Lord, have mercy.
On your phone or device at tunein.com or on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Boom SVG 1069.
Residents are fuming about the treatment they say was meted out to them.
The number one morning show in the SVG. OMG in the morning.
We know now the road to the Prime Minister come, and I'm the Minister of National Security. This is injustice. We want justice.
World boss, 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 world boss.
Everybody know
World boss, 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 world boss.
Dirty government, free the people. Get to youth left school and can't buy a vehicle and a house. You come out of your mouth and you want buy me vote, you really want to buy me out. With the free zone, everything sell China, buy Jamaica. We money and no nothing, just a piece of pretty paper. People are suffer sick, no little traitor, no. Lucky said the people them brainwash. Police a murder get to youth every day, plus the youths murder them one another same way that a brainwash. Nothing now go on 5 years when election come and no go vote same way that a brainwash. Why Jesus in our brain so when the white man this way we just pray that a brainwash. Look how we not the ghetto stay and the people no fight for change, yeah fight for them.
World boss, 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 world boss.
Everybody know
World boss, 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 world boss.
Government have a dumb plan, rubbish like dumb plan. How them a target bad man? What about good one? With the job, with the program, bag a speech, bag a slogan. What you talking about, Gary Coleman? Them a want disco and a talk slow jam. You no care about the poor man. But
come Shady.
Bet say we not vote bank. I know your kids them alone in.
Where we say Shady?
World boss,
Big red, big red.
world boss,
Big red, big red.
world boss,
Big red, big red.
world boss, world boss.
Everybody know
World boss,
Big red, big red.
world boss,
Big red, big red.
world boss.
Yo, yo, all don't mess with me this morning, you know. Don't mess with me this morning. We see how they here this morning. I jumpy, edgy this morning. Don't mess with me this morning. Really, take the ads down and we come back for them a ball. Them a ball who vote for Labour now a ball. What you do? Eh? Take the ad first. Big red, line up. Big red, line up. I know that burning you out, Lavon, with your fresh self. That Lavon King, the ULP Lavon. Call me now. I bet you don't call me. I heard a recording of you calling in on a ULP program. Say how you I called him. He did the radio. Calling our Prime Minister Big Red, and I called him and I had to pepper him. Lavon, let me tell you something. It's only because you and my aunt are friends, you know. Why I just laugh it off, you know, because I was gonna deal with you properly, with your fresh frozen self. But I love you still anyway. Okay, I love you still anyway. I love you still anyway. I love your spirit. Big red. Let me go. Big red. Let me take the ads, run them Shady. We come right back and we're gonna get those who voted for Labour on our ball. Let me go.
All football fanatics, get ready for a double dose of football excitement on Tuesday,
This is Locally Made. My name is Jillian Crookshank. Join us on IKTV channel 112, where we premiere and air Locally Made, a program featuring locally made produce right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We'll show you how it's made and how it is done. Remember, every Thursday, 8 p.m. on IKTV channel 112.
With no cash and pay later with Quartz Ready Finance. Plus, stay protected for up to 4 years with Super Shield Extended Warranty. Quartz is bringing back the fun days and bringing value home. Offer ends August 23rd, 2023. Special conditions apply.
The Patriot Company Limited. Company Limited at gmail.com or ncjackson4753 at gmail.com. The Patriot Company Limited. Service at its best.
Thinking of winning the Lotto jackpot? Well, there is an easy way. Combo Play. Choose 4 numbers from 1 to 36. That's a combo 4 at the cost of $64. Match any 4 of the 5 numbers and win the Lotto jackpot. There's Combo 6, where you purchase 6 numbers for only $12. Match
Horizons, hardware Horizons, one place Horizons, the helpful place. Yo, Horizons is hardware, is the place for all of your home needs. If you want building materials, where you going? Horizons, Horizons, for paint and garden tools, where you going? Horizons, Horizons, electrical cables, find that at Horizons. We have everything for your home at Horizons. Located in Kingston, located in Annisville, Pembroke, Diamonds and Beckwith. Shop at Horizons, hardware Horizons, helpful place Horizons, one place Horizons, Horizons, Horizons.
As a premier level medical school in the Caribbean, and we intend to broaden our focus to become the best medical school opportunity for students all over the world. From the Trinity family to yours, thank you for supporting our school and allowing our students to find a home with the people of St. Vincent.
Paladin SVG Inc. alarm solution is second to none. We offer intrusion alarm systems, security radar, active infrared beams, and emergency alarm systems. Get perimeter protection for your premises. Active infrared beams protect large areas. Our radar video linkage solution sends data to PTZ cameras for active target tracking, so you can take immediate action. Intrusion alarm systems offer reliable protection and records video the moment the alarm is triggered and sends footage to users via email or the app. Intelligent alarm systems mean you can control your home from anywhere in the world. Find out more at Paladin SVG Inc. at telephone number 784-457-7241.
Home 1069.
Yeah. Hugh Peter, morning, buddy. Y'all know who Hugh Peter is. You know who Hugh Peter. Put on the microphone and we talk to Hugh Peter now. Hugh Peter, how about they coming up? Hugh Peter, good morning to you. Hugh Peter, my other woodsy friend who have horrible names. The first one name is Urias. What a disgusting, horrible name that is, Urias. And the one in New York City, Hugh Peter Woodsy, is having a big, big birthday bash celebration this month, come September 23rd at Woodsy, 1133 Claxton Avenue, Brooklyn, New York City. Limited $40 tickets are already out and are available. Yeah, man. Big international DJs and top DJs from New York City will be there. Now, listen, you can get your packages, the $250 package for the Woodsy's birthday bash celebration. You get 1 bottle, 2 tickets, a table for yourself, and appetizers. Yeah? The bottle packages, $450 package for 2 bottles, 4 tickets, table, and 2 appetizers. And the main one, the one that Shady and I going for, Shady, I'm still begging for Shady visa, boy. Oh gosh, boy. Uncle Sam treating Shady so. Shady, what you do? What have you done in your past? You did something when you was you was a good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Yeah. Well, we're going for this one here. The $650 package, 3 bottles. We're talking about the top shelf things here, top shelf things here, the mojito and all those top shelf things in it. 6 tickets, so a group of we. So we got me, Shady, small B, small red, medium red. Wait, big red go be up there for United Nations thing there. And my Council General, Luther. Yeah. I know, that's fine. We want the person to go with that. Who do you think we should carry? Lavon? Which one is Lavon? NDP Lavon or ULP Lavon? You I don't think you carry. Listen to me. I am not normally a hostile person. You all can vouch for me that I'm a good, decent person. But Lavon, you push me to that, and I give you a nice spanking day. That was just a spanking with loving. And I love it when a woman spank me. So you can spank me back there, Lavon. You could either call me on air, or you can call your Shaker program and spank me back. Oh my, I'm going to enjoy that. Yeah. So that's a $650 package, 3 bottles and 6 tickets, table and 3 appetizers. Only at Woodsy's for the big birthday bash. Hugh Peter having a big birthday celebration. You ain't telling me how old you going to be. But listen, we head into that one on the 23rd, Saturday the 23rd of September this month. Yeah? Hey, my boy, Shallow. Morning, Shallow. Yeah, Shallow right behind us there. In the back there, Paul's Avenue. SVG Tires, good morning to you, buddy. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Listen, SVG Tires, they have a special on tires. Buy a regular price and get the 4th one for free. And get the regular price set, that should be. Yeah? Visit their stores by Shallow. Dunk says SVG General Services. No. Dunk says by Fly. That's Shallow Day store. Number 1 tire shop. Shallow is my boy. Yeah? Visit Shallow Day. You can call them at 457-1467. Or you can call them in Annisville. You got an outlet in Annisville too. So we get all the same good tires you get in town. You can get them in Annisville too. If you don't want to come in town, you could stop in Annisville. Yeah? 456-6444. Ask for Shallow. One thing. If you don't know who Shallow is, just go in. And the black man who always smiling, that's Shallow. He always have a smile on his face. Always smiling. And he always saying hello to everybody. Yeah? That's my boy Shallow. So make sure you check out Shallow there. Yeah? Let me see. What we got there? KCCU. Good morning to the staff at KCCU. That's what my girlfriend looking over there. She married too, but I married too, so we all married. So we do this thing, right? One big happy family. There we go. Yeah? Embrace the future of education with KCCU Ed Tech. And I know somebody else, but another place is going vex because I say that. But I love you too, baby. And I love all the ladies in my life. When I got married, I was told that by the Anglican man, he said 4. I should have 4. That is better. That's 40. 4. That is worse. 4. To have the 4 that is worse. 4 that is richer. Well, I don't have them there for sure. Morning, Hazel, the Norbigo. Morning. That is one of the 4 that is richer. Right? And 4 that is poor. Now, I am not going to call none of the poor names. So that is 16. All right? Yeah. By the way, send Dr. Richard the link. He said that he's sending the link. Yeah? So go check out KCCU EdTech. Head back to school hassle-free with financial support from $3,000 to $5,000. Enjoy super low interest rates, manageable monthly payments. Invest in your dreams today, not tomorrow, today. Pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, yeah? You can also take the leap towards success with KCCU Ed Tech. Unlock up to $30,000 at just 7% interest on the reducing balance for your tertiary education journey. Check them out. Why not? You gotta go check them out. You think that all who vote for Labour but now a ball. All who vote for Labour but now a ball. Bring it. And take the music right out.
I want to say thanks to those who voted for Labour but now a ball.
Where you there? Remind us again. Tell him again so you go call. Brother.
I want to say thanks to those who voted for Labour but now a ball.
It is your turn.
Sherry, I made sure I take some time to put on my armor this morning. I put it on extra tight. Hey, Sherry, I put on my armor extra tight. I fully suit up. I come there with a face lever.
Sherry, that's your boy. You're bringing your cattle foot soup for you today, boy. Morning, buddy.
Good morning, Bill. I see you come with fire in the belly this morning.
Boy, proper.
So Shady, after the man make sure he takes some days off, you know, he ball out all the water out the eye. He come back now with real vengeance in the belly.
Real ball. No, trust me, boy, real ball. I'm gonna show her that picture. Me say, should I put this show how beautiful she look in her new uniform? A real ball boy. Can't say boy ball. I couldn't take a ball till I had to like walk out the place. I said, nah, because they say, nah. Easy to say one daughter, just love you, just gone, just move out. So,
well, just imagine when the Hague and get married and you
No, let me not talk that. We shall not speak about these things on the radio. We'll not speak about these things. Hold on. Let me show you something.
Wonderful.
Oh gosh. Yes, buddy, let's go.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to touch back on is that
I know wait, before you go. I need you to respond to these two horrible individuals that came on earlier and talk about NDP. And
you see why I say I put on extra tight this morning.
I know. We're waiting. So whichever you want to deal with first, but it's your turn to ball. So let it go. Ball. It's your turn to ball.
Well, before I get there, I just want to say there is no way that you can get equality of outcome in the world. None. And while one of the major talking points of the modern day, notice what I'm saying, the modern day feminism movement is about the patriarchy and all of these things. What are you going to replace that with, that you call the patriarchy? What are you going to replace it with? The matriarchy, is it going to be any different? It's just going to be a revolving door of men now going to be complaining about women, not so?
Nice.
So I don't see, listen, you just have to accept that for me, you do equal work, you get equal pay. And you cannot have equal work in every sector. Because if you look at the statistics of new billionaires and so forth, most of them are women now. Most of the CEOs and so forth are women. So where's the inequality in that? Do we want equality in more men are going to prison more than women? We want equality in that too. You see? But anyway, let us leave that. So to what you want now, Bing. So spell your stone.
Me, not me. I didn't. Not me at all. Not me. Not me.
Listen. I think the discussion this morning was very objective, and it will do well for any institution, individuals, whoever, whether it's politics, business, or whatever, to take these constructive criticism. For me, they are constructive. It is the way that you take them and you tailor them to yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when the question is asked about, policies and so forth going forward in the future, we have seen policies that are needed now that will transform things the way they are now so that we have a better future. Because for me, one of the major things for the future is standard and cost of living. Those two things. How are we to raise the standard of living of Vincentians for the next 15 to 20 years, even in the short term? We have seen where we have one of the highest rates of unemployment in the Caribbean. One of the highest rates of poverty in the Caribbean. How are we going to get practical policies put in place to deal with this? Now, some of the practical things, because most of the things that are causing the high rate of living in St. Vincent are taxes, and we cannot tax our way out of poverty. The thing is that if people want to be honest and truthful and stop listening to the garbage sometimes that is spewed, we will realize that coming out of an NDP government, and this is not anything partisan, these are just facts. Coming out of an NDP government, you had an economy that was thriving. You had a treasury that had excess money. You had an NIS that had excess monies. What happened to it in the last 2 decades? What happened in the last 2 decades? And then we have seen an upsurge in taxes that we have never seen in St. Vincent. And twice on my program last night and last week, I showed just how we are in a socialist country. Who don't want to believe that that's them? But all the hallmarks and all of the blocks are right there showing you that we are in a socialist country. We are living under socialism presently. How are we going to change those things? Some practical things have been put forward by the opposition leader, Dr. Friday, that has been shut down by the Prime Minister. For example, let us cut the VAT by 3%, bring it within range of those other international countries, which is 13%. You see what I'm saying? By that, you are putting more money into people's pockets. Remove the fuel surcharge off of the electricity bill, because you have the fuel surcharge plus you have VAT. We like to talk about environmental.
But Kenson, I have heard NDP talk, people who speak on behalf of not NDP, ULP, say that the VAT has already been reduced on fuel surcharge because you pay. It's only those who pay up to a certain amount pay VAT and all of that on electricity.
Let me answer you on that.
Is that correct?
No, let me answer you on that. I heard the Prime Minister with that, and I shut that down 2 weeks ago. Let me show you how that is cut. First and foremost, the VAT and the fuel surcharge were put on by who? They were put on by this government, right? Now, I wanted to notice something on your bill. Your price per kilowatt has risen from 55 cents to over $1 for me. Right? Now, when you have a finished product being, when you're in business and you have a finished product, obviously, you raise your price or whatever because of your cost of material, right? So if you have your cost of material, obviously, when you're selling the product, your cost is already factored in and a profit. That's already factored in. The fact that they raise the price per kilowatt from 55 cents to over $1, it means that you've already factored in your cost in buying your fuel and everything else to produce the electricity. Now that you're selling the electricity, you're selling it obviously at a profit. You tax that. And then you also put on a fuel surcharge that is sometimes over 100% on some people's bills. Now my thing is this is what they have done there by talking about they raise the amount of electricity you have to use before it's vatable. That is nonsense. Because guess what? At the end of the day, that is like you telling me that you're providing the guns and the bullets, and then you're still waiting on the sideline with the bandages. I am not that foolish and gullible. First and foremost, you put it on. So whether you put it at a higher level or not, it is still there.
But the question is, if you use under a certain amount? That's a question though, Kenson.
No, you may not. But this is my point being. The point remains.
And does the average Vincentian use over a certain amount?
Of course, plenty people. And especially in this kind of heated time here. And then when you look at your building, your fuel surcharge, even though they technically say they're not charging you but because they might not have gone over a certain amount. Look at your fuel surcharge. And you will hear some people tell you they have not changed the way that they utilize electricity at all. And they have seen a serious jump in their electricity bills. How is that possible then? How is that possible? So you're technically creating a problem and they want to complain riding on a white horse to fool who? No matter the color horse you're coming in, you're still the villain. Because you're the one who put these things into play in the first place. You see? When the opposition leader say, cut the VAT for now. Cut it so that you could put more money in people's pockets. The Prime Minister said, there's too much millions the government going to lose, so I guess the government is not here to represent Vincentian and to make sure that Vincentian's lives are easier. Because there's too much for the government to lose, and quote-unquote government. So you are making people's lives worse, making it harder for them to live, and you're telling me that at the end of the day, that I should look at you as being good when you are making it worse for me? That makes no sense to me, Bing. That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay.
So if you bring down that VAT by 13%, you are literally putting more money in people's pockets. And by doing that, the people whose pockets the money going are the people who spend, because you're going to have a vibrant middle class. They are going to spend. The merchants are going to make more money because people are spending more, which now the merchant can bring in even more, which is going to make it easier for them to sell cheaper. Because guess what? Even though you lower the custom duties, they raised the custom duties by a percentage point recently. Along with, and still we have the VAT. After they raise the VAT by 1%, they raise the custom duties by 1 percentage point. You know how much pressure that is putting on people? So if you remove those things, if you remove back that percentage point, which these are policies that are being pushed by the NDP, if you remove that 1 percentage point, you remove the 3% VAT, you know the kind of power you're putting back in people's pockets? You know how much merchants are going to make where now, because they're making more, they can sell more, they can hire more people, which gives more people money to spend. You have more people now able to spend. You have more people going to be saving more, so they could open more businesses and hire more people, which brings even more people into the spending world with more to spend. And guess what? Through all of that, the government is going to be collecting even more taxes because more is coming into the tax. How hard could that be? I did basic economics in St. Martin's, thanks to Dr. Richard. How hard is any of this? Eh? Look at we're talking about environment and vehicles, right? Basically trying to say, okay, you want people to bring in your model vehicle, but what have you really put in place to help people to do that? Because if people are able now to pay lower duties on the vehicles that they bring and newer vehicles, when they bring newer vehicles, the government is going to still make more money because people are going to be bringing newer vehicles that cost a little more. You know what I mean? But that duty is not there to really hinder them from bringing them in, because the same $50,000 or $60,000 that you're going to spend on a 9-year-old or 10-year-old vehicle, you can put that into buying a newer vehicle and know that you don't have to go have another 150% to pay on that vehicle. You see? So how these are practical things being that can be done, and all have been put forward by the opposition, and they have all been shut down. Even the education something there with the children, where the NDP says, listen, we will take the burden off of you and help and push your children to school up to college. Again, the Prime Minister said that will cost the country too much. But yet, we like to talk about that we're investing in our future. And we prefer to talk about the $500 that we give in. That better than actually pushing them to school. Which one of them? Pushing them right up to college, where the parents don't have to worry about the financial burden on their pockets, or giving them a $500 when they leave college. Which one is more an investment in their future?
Mm. Do you care to respond to the issues which were raised this morning, though, with regards to the NDP attracting younger candidates to the party to put on the ballots?
I'll say this, Bing. I'll say this. The NDP has to have a proper a proper management system and support going forward. For me, I don't know what their strategies are, support or so on. That's up to them. But hear me. I have no problem with the commentary this morning. As I said, it's up to whoever to take whatever and tailor it to themselves. But I'll say this. What we are seeing, where it's in the ULP, where you see all of these young faces, especially young women, we know that Ralph is just only playing into the narrative these days of women empowerment and all of that. But what really are the contributions that are going to be allowed to be made by these women? If elected officials of the ULP have been there for however long, not one of them could open their voice in the mouth independently and say nothing. We don't hear them on issues at all. Even in their own ministries. Practically the Prime Minister speaks on everything and dictates who speak when. What really are you expecting out of these young people who they say they are bringing into the party now? Because for me, it makes no sense that you bring in the same young people and they can't contribute from their standpoint and so forth going forward. Because look at what was recently opened there by the Prime Minister. For me, that's a propaganda piece of machine that they opened there and
the Political Institute.
The Political Institute. That's a propaganda piece of machine. You think any of these young people are going to be anything different than Ralph? That's just going to be Ralph personified coming to these people. You think that was opened by mistake? No, it was open so that it could imprint on their minds. Look carefully and you will see.
But it's a political strategy, though.
Of course, it's a strategy, Bing. It's a strategy, and I agree. It's a strategy, but one based in fallacy. And if people don't take the time out to think critically, they too will be pulled in. You think people like Hitler them only got through because they were just evil? No, it was the people that were able to imprint on and support that. It was the people who actually kept people like Hitler them in power, you know. And we have seen it right here. One of the 9 things about a socialist country is taking control of the education. Hey, Bing? Me not fall for them crap.
All right, buddy.
Yeah? Have a good morning, buddy.
Thank you, my brother. We got
thank you for going easy on me this morning. I came properly, you know, because they would have felt some big
No.
I tidied you and balling for your daughter and suppose they might have want to hit me hard.
What happened is the photograph night just kind of
just
played on my mind. Just
boy,
kind of played on my mind.
Watch out. You see when I'm calling here in the morning? Shady, make sure before you hear I call here in the morning, you encourage this man to look at the picture he does,
All right, buddy.
Good morning, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Wow, interesting times, really. Very interesting times indeed. What we're gonna do? We got Dr. Richards coming up next. Did he get the link? Yeah. He got the link. All right. So Doc got the link. So maybe we should bring him in early. What do you guys have to say? Yeah, what do you have to say? You can share your opinions on here. Let's say good morning. Good morning.
You big.
Love on. I love you dearly, and I don't know what's going on with you. I love you dearly, my darling. You and Auntie Barron are friends. What are you letting politics come between us? Because I say Big Red. Big Red loves me. He loves the name. You don't have a problem with the name. Why are you behaving so? Tell me. Go ahead. Good morning.
It's not love on big.
Make a big good morning to you, buddy.
Welcome home back my home. Well, hey, hope you not start to become this foreign operative no.
Boy, you know.
Because you're spending more time out in the country now, you're saying Steve Vincent.
Careful enough, buddy. Careful you put that out there. They're going to say, I am the journalist. I am the one who was there signing the document.
Careful, you're not in new foreign operative. Careful. Good morning, Shady. Morning.
Morning, buddy.
You know, they had I can't without listening to the program on a Sunday. And you know, what jump out at me big? The able to talk about how NIF has surplus and NIF has surplus. You know what the professor said yesterday? Yes, even if the NIF has a surplus, it is short-lived. Any surplus in NIF, they are short-lived. You know the reason why? Because if every day the cost of paying out money to pensioners is going up, So they hear they talk about NF that surplus, don't worry nobody big.
Wow.
And here don't worry nobody big. That NF issue is one of the biggest issues that could be on every program. It might not dominate the entire program, but every single morning. This is something that you need to know. That after your working days are over, this is the only thing you got to leave to able to eat and drink maybe for how long to keep it take you through. And hence the reason why I For me, I ain't got no money at the NIS to get there. Let me see this out the loud and clear. But I'm doing for others who I have love for. But me, because with me being, I always have the opinion that nobody else can work and invest my money for me like I would have. You hear me, Bing? So when I invested heavily in my businesses. I never Bing never used to go and don't even think about looking to salary and anything from my business. Every penny I got was to plow back into my business. Yeah?
We all know about that, buddy.
But to know that, but that's the reason why I cannot roll over as the foreign operative Ralph Gonzalez say. You cannot, Vincent will not roll over until dead. So me, for sure, me not think about Vincent now. Me big thing will not roll over until dead. When Ralph Gonzalez them do me the wickedness here, I would not roll over until dead. So because in my NIS, when they mash up my business, is my NIS they mash up, and then I don't take that lightly. Because one thing I do not want thing, my children will love to do that for me. You know what I mean? The children they making sure that they will be in a position to take care of daddy. But I don't want anybody to take care of me. I want to be able to give them something. You know what I mean? I do not want to depend on state, no child to take care of me. And I want them to get this message here that I will not roll over and play dead. And then that's my jump up for the professor again yesterday again big. But the professor said that really amazed me. You hear Ralph Gonzalez, the wicked operative state that after 2 years they will get back all the money, and after that after 18 months or 2 years you will don't get back all the money you contributed. You know what the professor said yesterday? It's 10 point something years before you get back your money. So but another attack, but it's Brata, Vincent will be getting Brata. The Vincent can continue to sit down there and listen to the wicked operative. When you talk,
Bigger, you gotta go, buddy. You gotta go.
Okay, yes, you want to check it up. But I just glad that I get the opportunity to tell the people. If I didn't speak, I might do it today again a nice radio program today. But I want him to know that I am onto him.
All right, buddy. You can call back tomorrow. You can call back tomorrow and do it earlier. All right?
Okay, big. Okay,
my
have a
brother.
wonderful.
Thank you, buddy.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, my brother. I tell you what, we're gonna. You know what? Let's bring Doc. Let's bring Doc. Is he backstage as yet? Are you seeing him, Doc? We're not seeing you. All right, he's there. Let's bring him in. Let's bring bring his drop and let's bring him in one time.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
It's now time for the doc, the good doc. He's in. Good morning to you, Dr. Richards.
Hey, good morning, Bing. How are you doing?
I am doing great. And yourself?
Excellent.
Nice.
Monday, full of energy. October is coming. Oh gosh, October is coming.
That's your month. Our month.
The
nation's month and your month.
You know what I do in October? I love my commentaries in October. I just love my commentaries in October. Can't wait for that. So we have another couple of weeks. Good morning, everyone. And I trust that everyone had a blessed weekend, Bing. I don't know if there's anything in particular you want me to go at, but I was particularly over the weekend. I have a number of things to.
Well, before you asked me a question, you give me a chance to respond to you. Did you hear the commentary? I know you heard. So I'll leave you to respond or add your commentary to that commentary after you do your introduction, your preamble.
I listened off and on. I try to listen to all, but you know how it is with me, a lot of phone calls and stuff. So I listen off and on. I heard Stephen giving me a shout out. I appreciate that. That's a good model there. Stephen and I don't see eye to eye on everything, especially on religious matter, but every now and again he will give me a shout up and I will give him a shout up. So that's a good thing right there. I mean, even when you and someone else you're not always on the same page, it's always good to be respectful and to kind of big up. So I heard that, Stephen. I heard Mr. Weeks and giving me a little challenge. Mr. Weeks challenges me, Bing, and he pushes me to in a good way. Let me go ahead and say that in a good way. And this morning I heard him say, Pastor Richards, I know you're talking about justice, but you had to bring the whip and I know the stuff, incidents I could talk about. And so I know where he's coming from. And I kind of, Mr. Weeks, actually, I don't know if you heard my commentary last week. I kind of got, I won't say totally incisive, but I dropped some things to with respect to justice, criminal justice, and criminal justice being a tool of power, which deserves a little bit more unpacking how justice is a tool of power. And why is justice unjust? And I started talking about why is justice unjust? And maybe you prodded me there to go back at it. But let me tell you something. One of the most unjust things that we have ever seen is justice. Have I ever talked about Jim Crow? Yeah. And the Jim Crow legislations. I think I've talked about that. I've talked about a lot of things that apartheid has been upheld by laws. Laws, laws. A lot of unjust things have been propped up by laws. Justice can be rather unjust. I mean, oh gosh, I really don't want to go down there, but I can't stop myself once I start talking. I talked about economic power and how the justice system is rigged to become a tool of economic power. And there's an industry that has developed, aka, I mean, I'm not being disrespectful to lawyers. I'm just saying that's the game. You don't go in there just to work pro bono. You go in there and you and you make big money, and you have a life off this. Of defending people, and you better be good at what you are doing. But part and parcel of defending people is winning cases, not about establishing this man is innocent or this man is guilty, but you get paid to win the case. All right. So I mean, and big money wins big case. And last week I made reference to I made reference to a number of cases in the United States. It's safer to do that. I made reference particularly to the gimmickry of the O.J. Simpson case. I think that was around 1995 or thereabout. I made reference to that, and he had Cochran and Johnny stuff and Shapiro and all them guys. He made Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden. They made them look like kindergarten stuff, man. Because I mean, you had big guns. You had public prosecutors versus a guy like what's his name there, Johnny. I mean, come on. And Johnny said, and the famous phrase, not about the mountain of evidence. That entire case was not about the mountain of evidence. It was the skills of the argumentative skills of Shapiro and Carter. And what he said is that if the gloves, you said it, Bing, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. I mean, that was rather dramatic. That won the case. It was not about guilt or innocence. So I think most people, if you listened last week, you have come to the conclusion, which and you have lawyers that, from time to time, whether it's on this station or elsewhere, they will remind you, they will tell you that it is not about innocence. It is not about guilt. They will tell you it is about case presentation, case preparation, case presentation, case argumentation. It's about, they came on different, they told you it's the skill in selecting the jury. It is in the skill in selecting the jury. And again, matters of guilt and innocence get shunted off to the side. If you could get a hangman jury, you know, and you could argue for that. If you could get an acquittal jury, you argue for that, and you hire psychologists. Well, I don't know here in St. Vincent, but elsewhere, you have sharp mind researching life history of from the pool of jurors, and and you are given X amount of thing that you could veto, and then you also argue for and against some, and you know who you want in the jury pool on the jurors chair. You know who you want. I talked about the Supreme Court judges, and you know why you want them there. It's not fair. It's biased. And people come to these things with biases. So I talked about that. The whole thing is rigged for power. But it is political power. I talked about reference power, position power. But the biggest part, I think, is economic power that drives what we call justice. And I made a comparison between what passes for justice, and if we just zero it in myopically on criminal justice, even on that small modicum of what constitutes justice, and we look at that, there's vast variance between that kind of justice and what I call divine justice or righteous justice. Justice is about power. Justice is about who has power. And justice is driven by those who control the reins of power, particularly money. But I mean, I didn't even intend to go down there this morning. I was just talking about some of the things that in my mind. You asked me if I listened to the program, and I listened on and off. I listened to Stephen. I listened to Stephen talk. When you ask him about, okay, what are your recommendations, guy? Recommendations. And Stephen spitfired a bunch of recommendations. And mind you, recommendations are not criticism. All right, please, people, we got to stop taking recommendations as criticism. 2 years ago, for example, last year in my October presentations, I said if I were to tweak St. Vincent and the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, here are 7 things that I would recommend and tweak. It was not meant to be a putting down of our people or criticism. A recommendation probably says we have some things going, but if we tweak it, we could get even better out of it. So I listened to Stephen this morning, and he was not being critical in his. He said, "Look, I would do this, I would do that, I would do it." A number of things were actually congruent with me and what I have said, particularly when he started talking about education, and he just knocked it when he said, "You see, I would curriculum and what people will be offered or what can be offered in schools and how I will restructure that, and no big set of 17, 16, 15 subjects where you're going with that nonsense and all that." He talked about certain skills that were required, and he did not say it, but as I listened to him, he was not necessarily regurgitating, but he was giving echoes of China's new development plan. And if you have listened to if you follow what's happening in China, I'm not talking about Taiwan, but I'm talking about mainland China, and their hard push, very, very hard push to re-engineer what constitutes education and how they're educating their people for the emerging future and putting a larger emphasis on technical skills. It's amazing that China, not America, China, not America, China has been on the cusp. China has been on the forefront, really, at the fulcrum, at the edge of economic development worldwide. The world geos. What they have done in 60 years, let's say 60, 65 years, where China was 65 years ago and where China is today, what has happened? What has caused that? They are setting models. I'm not necessarily gushing with admiration. But I am saying that China is setting a model. There's a reason why the trajectory of their development, and Taiwan too, by the way, there's a reason why the trajectory of their development is way outpacing other countries. And China is showing that they're not retrofitting, but they're fitting currently structuring education for the emerging future. Stephen talked about AI. Stephen talked about a future that is going to be more technologically based. And he talked, and it doesn't seem, once we maintain the old curriculum and the old subjects and all of that, and the old way of doing things, it doesn't seem that we are reinventing the wheel fast enough to keep up with the emerging technological future, the digital age and all of that that's coming. And he is saying that one of the things that he will do in government is make sure that that education system is fitted. And this is something I've been saying all along. Make sure that education system is fitted. So, and driving even away from, like China is doing, from totally academic, geography, social studies, and English, and driving towards a lot of technical preparation, fitting for the emerging technological future. I mean, come on, we got to do it. I heard Stephen say that. That's not a criticism. Bing, that's not a criticism. That's a good recommendation. So people should actually, Bing, you should do this. Go back and cut what he said when you asked him. Go back and cut. You asked him recommendations, and he just spouted them. He gushed them. Go back and just take that cut and play it again and again. And some people might agree, some people might disagree. I don't think it was a criticism. I think he was. See how many of them you can say yes to. Not from a political lens, that becomes jaundice, but from a pure Vincentian developmental lens. See how many of those will actually help us. You would find that it would be rather helpful. Sometimes we get too immersed in the politics and jaundice by politics to even hear somebody when they say something good. All right, so you asked me if I listened and my reaction. These are not things I plan to say, Bing. You just asked me my reaction, and those my immediate reaction to Mr. Weeks. That was my reaction with respect to the justice, although I did not exhaust what I could say there, and to Stephen's recommendation, again, although I did not exhaust what I should say there. None of this was part of my plan to talk about this morning, though. I'd actually planned to talk about Cocoa a little bit, but 8:59. What are we going to do? Bing, you got anything out of what I just said there, partner?
I got all of it, Doc. All of it. All of it. All of it.
Oh, Kenson. I left out Kenson. How could I leave out Kenson? Kenson, I appreciate the little kudos. You remember the economics I taught you? And he was always careful to give me a little nod. I like when my guys give me a little nod, make sure that I am remembered. So Kenson, yeah, man. Hear what Kenson said, Bing. What did Kenson say? What did Kenson say about the thing, the institute?
Strategy?
He had other words for it, though. Okay. Yeah, he had other words for it.
Yeah, he used other words as well too. But I said that to me it was a political strategy, a good political strategy. He also said that. How do I put it?
All right.
My own words.
You all know what I'm saying.
It was just. I would say that he was saying that it's just basically window dressing. That's what I would say that he was
on another occasion, either he or Kingsley said it was indoctrination. I think it was him. It is. From my standpoint, it is indoctrination. And what somebody say brainwashing, and there are nuances between brainwashing and indoctrination. It's not brainwashing, all right? It is indoctrinating in a particular political philosophy. Make no bones about it. And I said in my commentary on this a couple of weeks ago, I said that, and you all were talking about Dr. Gonzalez's age this morning, and I said, I don't like talk politics, Bing. We talk too much politics in this country. I don't like talk politics, all right? I'm not even partial to one or the other. Although some of you think that I am, I'm not. So you were saying this morning how Dr. Gonzalez, they talked about his age and his brain and all that. I'm thinking, no man lasts forever. All right, so I'm not wishing. I continue to wish him good health and long life, truly, as I wish for all of our Vincentian people. You know what I mean? But he's not headed towards being 80. Is not headed towards being 50. So you have to understand. And for a man that has eked out and has worked so hard and basically has become a political figure, renowned, and his life, that has been the axis of his life. You get to a point where you begin to think legacy. And I talked about that, and I said Dr. Gonzalez is eking out his legacy. He know what he has struggled for. He know what he has fought for. And if it's one thing he wants to leave behind, is an imprint. Oh, that's the word Kenson used, imprint. And I don't disagree with Kenson. You imprinting socialism. Or democratic socialism, if you want to call it that. Or whatever form you want to call it. And I made reference to Manley's work, Norman Michael. Manley's work and how that stood out and what he did. A lot of it would be Manley's work based on socialism principles. And Dr. Gonzalez, I think he might not, I don't know if he would say this, but as a young student during the Manley, fairly young person during the Manley era, he admired him. I don't know if Dr. Gonzalez would say this, he admired him. And I think implicitly or otherwise, a lot of Manley's ideology have been imprinted upon Dr. Gonsalve. And as Dr. Gonsalve is about to exit the political scene at some point or the other, you want to leave a legacy. And if you believe in your ideological political axis, ideological, philosophical, we could argue that, because mixes of one and the other. But if you are so convinced, if you want just nilly-willy pursuing a policy line and pursuing policy direction and all of that, if it was according to a particular ideological core and principle that you held there, then you want to be sure that this is imprinted and transmitted so that your legacy goes on. And what better way to do that than the Institute? That's how I see it, you know. That's how I see it. You're imprinting that this thing that you have fought for, this thing that has become your life, this thing that is worth more to you than possession, this thing that is your soul, you are making sure you transfer it to a line of young people that will carry it on. Kenson calls it socialism. He calls it imprinting. My question as I listen to Kenson, first of all, I agreed with the core philosophical, ideological ideals and principles contained within it and what I suppose it will teach. I agree that Kenson is right. That's what it's going to teach. My thing is it wrong to do that? If something is your core, if something has identified you, if something has marked you, if this is the prize of your life, would you not want to perpetuate the thing? Dr. Gonsalve believes in it. He believes in it. How many times have I come on this program and I've talked about people joining political party but have been at sea ideologically? If you were to question what's your political ideological stand, you don't know. And once you don't have a political ideological stand, your policies become very eclectic. You take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of that, you take a little bit of the other, because you have no political access, you have no ideological access. You don't have something that becomes a platform, becomes a forge, becomes the edge of your political direction, your political policies. So you need that. You need that. And if Dr. Gonsalve so believes in socialism, democratic socialism and that kind of stuff, not the extremes of that. If he believes in the democratic socialism as practiced by Manley, you know that he's going to want to safeguard that. Now, there are those who think differently about socialism. And I've taught this thing long enough. I have taught the thing long enough. But we out of time. So let me just say that. You see, the hope at the nexus, at the core of this thing is distributive justice. And whether or not capitalism delivers distributive justice as much as socialism can deliver it. Because in capitalism, it's a jungle mentality. Is the survival of the fittest. Whether it is in business, and I've taught business, it is the survival of the fittest. Look what Walmart has done to the mom and pop stores, driven them out. Capitalism is based on absolute rank meritocracy. And by the way, I heard Stephen calling for that this morning. It is based on absolute rank meritocracy. But what meritocracy does, it favors the strong. And the reflection of the economy, if you watch the US economy, the reflection of the economy is a very small percentage of strong and a mass of people below that. And what meritocracy does, it says if you're strong, you are able to receive and garner and shield things according to your merit.
But Doc, may I ask you quickly though, because we got to wrap up. Which system do you think fits us best in these small developing island states?
Bing, you have to have a system. I know you don't like the word meritocracy. Socialism. But you have to have a system for the distribution of the nation's resources other than a basis of meritocracy. You have to have a system. And we don't have enough time. You know what? Maybe
I
I'll
am
make
not
a note and talk
totally
about
against
some other time.
the socialism, the socialist system, I'm not totally against it. I'm just saying that it's got to be paid for somehow by someone.
Yeah, there has to be a balance. Don't get me wrong, Bing. This is not something I just talking for now. It's 20-something, 30-something years I've been down in this trench. Okay, so I mean, I'm seeing. I mean, and as a Christian person too, I have to understand that part of the biblical principle is this work ethic. You work and you get. But also part of the biblical principle is looking out for the disenfranchised and the weak and the powerless. And in an unchecked and unlimited, I'm constantly listening to me, right? In an unchecked and unlimited capitalist structure, you don't have any system that looks out for the disenfranchised and the powerless and the weak and those who are disadvantaged. And that is not going to happen, because in a capitalist system, the strong will continue to devour. And you need checks and balances to make sure that all the wealth is not funneled towards the powerful and the strong and those who have already. So you have to have distributive measures, whether it is taxations or other policies. You have to have a mechanism to redistribute, even if it is a progressive taxation system that takes more from those who are well-to-do, because they have it, and redistributes it. Even if it's the NIS system and it is used distributively, you have to have a system to redistribute from those who have it to those who don't. You have to do that. And whether or not you call it, but when you do that, you know what it is called? Socialism. And it comes with this negative vibe. You know what? We need another program to talk about this. I wish also that the NDP, you see like what Dr. Gonsalves has done in setting up the institute to perpetuate his values and political ideologies, which is what I think. He didn't say that, but this is my assessment. The NDP should do that. If you have a core, if you have a basis, if you have an ideology that you think is superior,
what's the ideology that they need to perpetuate, Doc? What is their ideology?
Well, eke it out. Spell it out. I heard you all talking this morning about every Monday morning, one party was putting out papers, position statements, and all of that, and rating voluminously on these things, right? Unless you put it out there, we don't know. I have contended, unless you convince me otherwise. You have heard me say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Just a matter of different personalities. But what is in terms of political ideology? How different? What it is that demarcates, not personalities, okay? Not Dr. Gonsalves, Dr. Friday, not Major versus Saboto, okay? Not personalities. What is it that differentiates markedly for me and for you NDP from the ULP? And I have to say, I have to go with this one as opposed to the other.
All right. Okay, Doc. Like the Democrats and the Republicans.
I didn't talk about what I came on to talk about.
I know. But unfortunately, we're out of time. You're way past the time, Doc. I give you extra time, Doc. No. I give you extra time. I give you added extra time.
Being a preaching a sermon series,
I didn't get to hear your sermon yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get.
Speak the truth and watch your back.
Wow.
A lot of people are zooming in on that and listen. You know what I mean? It's just what Jesus said. But they call him into a party in Luke 11. The man invite Jesus to a party. Jesus just drops up the wall. I think they had to move with the food because nobody could eat after that. But y'all check it out. Check it out this weekend, all right? Speak the truth and watch your back. Jesus is an interesting guy. I'd like to be like him. Boy, I'd love to be like him.
Doc, we'll catch you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. All right?
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richard.
Right, take care. Bye.
Okay, we're going to go out on this commercial break until tomorrow morning. We way past the top. Jill. Let's see if she's going to run inside here. Jill, where are you? Where is Jill? I know she's outside. I went outside, and she was outside in the corridors. I met her in the corridors a while ago. Jill, where are you? Where you, Jill? Jill. She's deliberately not going to come inside to meet me. But hey, that's all right. Let's go to the top. Not go to the top. We're going to take a commercial break. And we're going to head straight to the top. Yeah, on behalf of Shade and myself, we're going to tomorrow morning. Yeah, let's do this.